Here on Talksport, it's Manchester United against Aston Villa with former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Sam Matterface.
Adrian, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. 5 teams battle for 3 Champions League places. It's the first time that more than 3 teams have contested a Champions League place on the final day of the season. Manchester City, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest vying for a place in the top 5, but not all of them can make it. If Chelsea slip up and finish 7th, the team that finishes 8th may well qualify for the Conference League. If Chelsea win the final on Wednesday night, live on Talksport, there is another scenario where Chelsea finish 6th and Newcastle finish 7th, but that's very unlikely. Well, after losing in Bilbao, the fractures at Manchester United have been exposed, and now Aston Villa have come here to grab what they couldn't. Champions League football. Villa need to win, and they need to hope that someone else doesn't. And their task, well, it couldn't be simpler, really. They've won 7 of the last 8. Manchester United are breaking records for all the wrong reasons. It is their worst ever Premier League season at Old Trafford by far. No wonder they're tearing it down. It's no longer a fortress, it's welcoming. A 10th home defeat will set a new club record. They've scored just 21 times here, and in no Premier League season have Manchester United conceded more than they have this season. Not only that, the owners aren't very popular, and as I speak, there are supporters standing in front of the director's box with A4 printed sheets, ramming them in the faces of the directors with the words evicted, greed and embarrassing emblazoned on the front. So there is an invitation to the European party for Aston Villa here for the taking. All they can do is accept it and then hope that someone lets them in. Here are the 2 teams, starting with the home team, Manchester United. 3 changes from Wednesday night's failure in Bilbao. Altay Biandir starts in place of Onana. Lindelof, Maguire and Aidan Heaven are the back 3. Mazraoui plays at right wing back, Dorgu at left wing back, Fernandes and Casemiro in the centre, Amad Diallo and Mason Mount flanking Rasmus Højlund in attack. Only 10 goals this season, only 2 in his last 6. They have been few and far between. For Aston Villa, Emi Martinez being linked with moves all over the place. Matt Cash is the right back. Konza, Pau Torres and Ian Martson make up the back 4. Onana and Boubacar Kamara, the 2 holders in midfield, with Asensio in the 10, McGinn and Rodgers flanking Ollie Watkins, Aston Villa's record Premier League goal scorer, in attack. The stage is set for Europe, and this is the final countdown. 3 of Chelsea, Forest, Manchester City, Newcastle or Aston Villa will join Arsenal in the Champions League, with Liverpool, the champions, at the top table of European football. Stick with us and you'll find out faster and quicker than anyone else. We're off and underway. Stuart Pearce is here with Manchester United in red shirts, white shorts and black socks, attacking the goal away to our right-hand side. The scoreboard end in the first half. It's all black for Aston Villa, attacking the goal away to our left. Everyone follows everything nowadays, Stuart, but if you're playing in a game like this and you're Aston Villa and you're waiting on other results and all you can do is do your job, how hard is it to shut out the noise?
I think for Villa, when you're in a situation where it's a must-win for you, it's so easy to shut that out. The only way that changes is probably very late on. If you think you need a point that will get you over the line, that message might come on. And when I say might, from your manager and coaching staff, but in the main they'll be fully focused on winning this game, Villa.
A point may be enough for Aston Villa if Newcastle lose, but they're defending here with the ball picked up by Mason Mount inside left channel. He bounds forward towards the left edge of the penalty area before releasing Dorgu. Dorgu plays it inside. It's won by Rodgers, dispossessed by Bruno Fernandes. Dorgu's got it back again, and Manchester United enjoying early possession. 1 minute play. Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0. As soon as a goal goes in anywhere else, we're underway everywhere else. We'll keep you updated right here on Talksport. You've chosen wisely because we've got eyes everywhere. Forget social media, it's not fast enough, and we only tell you what is happening. There are no false flags on Talksport. Ball sent long by Maguire, in behind the Villa defence. McGinn struggling to get back there, Mazraoui struggling to get hold of the ball. It goes out by the corner flag and away for our throw away to our right hand side in the left full-back position. Old Trafford not entirely full today, and I don't think any of us are too surprised about that. Outside there was a heavy police presence as there was a few protests going on, but it's the Aston Villa supporters that you can hear away to our right hand side, knowing that they are on the cusp of something special. Not since the 80s have they qualified in consecutive seasons for the top European competition. Here is Matt Cash in the right full-back position, back to Emi Martinez. He guides it a couple of steps forward towards his penalty spot, and then under no pressure will just hold the ball and invite Højlund to press him so that he can try and break that press. He does that with an intelligent ball into McGinn, back to Kamara, and they're away now, Aston Villa. Mason Mount with a tackle from behind. He claims he got the ball. The referee, who is Thomas Bramall today, says he didn't, pulls him up and gives a free kick in Aston Villa's favour, just right to the centre circle away to our left.
Well, fantastic play by Villa there. Martinez was instigating it, basically played the ball through the press, and from there Villa sort of got out, but a recovering tackle by Mount. It looked a fantastic tackle, but yeah, he's just looking at the replay, just caught the legs of Kamara.
Well, we're underway again with Aston Villa in possession, and again Martinez sends it long this time towards McGinn. McGinn keeps it in. Lindelof has to adjust and then go back towards his own penalty area into Maguire, who I think is a little bit surprised that he isn't in the England squad. Ball played into midfield and then sent towards the halfway line, up to Mount and then on to Patrick Dorgu. Dorgu travels infield, gives it back to Harry Maguire. Ruben Amorim has started his stalking. He does this thing where he walks from one side of the technical area to the other and just constantly does it throughout the game, usually looking at the floor. Here is Mazraoui right side, trying to get up beyond McGinn. He's out-muscled McGinn, pulled it into the penalty area. Mason Mount is there. It's a brilliant save by Emi Martinez. It's a terrific stop by Emi Martinez for Aston Villa. Mason Mount with a chance, and now another one from Højlund's cross, and he heads the ball straight into the arms of the Argentine goalkeeper. That save, that double save, could be crucial, Stuart Pearce.
Well, super play by United there, great setup, got to the byline on two occasions, one from the left, one from the right, and both times it was that man Mount getting on the end of it. Second one, a comfortable save from Martinez. The first one just fell back on his haunches and got a right leg to it and pushed it away.
0-0 here and 0-0 everywhere else so far. We'll keep you updated as soon as there is a change to any scoreline anywhere on final day in the Premier League. You'll hear it first and fastest right here on Talksport. And that's where you are this Sunday afternoon, the final day of the Premier League season. We're at Old Trafford, just right at the halfway line, towards the back of the South Stand, the Sir Bobby Charlton stand. And we're watching as Maguire brings the ball out of defence, rather awkwardly shapes it into Lindelof, and then Amad Diallo finds Mazraoui, who's getting forward on this right hand side, into Højlund, who gives it away to Kamara, and then it goes back via Cash to Emi Martinez, who kicks the ball long up towards the halfway line, headed down by Maguire, picked up by McGinn tried to just toss that over the top, and then it's given away by Heaven, and it almost found its way from Watkins back to Rodgers. But both the Manchester United backline and the Villa front line just a little bit guilty of being a bit too sloppy and casual and loose in possession, Stuart.
Yeah, as I say, the ball should have been played by McGinn for Watkins. He missed him with a pass, and Heaven sort of intercepted the pass and played it for him, but they were fortunate enough to get back and recover the situation.
Goalless on Talksport. On Talksport 2 we've got live commentary this afternoon with Adam Bridge and Troy Deeney of Newcastle United against Everton. On Talk Radio, Fulham against Manchester City. There are more commentaries available for you on our app. Just download it and you can choose the one you want. Here is Lindelof over the halfway line, played in by Casemiro. Centrally is Fernandes. Fernandes moves up towards the edge of the area, then releases the ball wide. Manchester United on the attack here with Mazraoui, into Mazraoui again from Amad Diallo, back to Amad Diallo, lays it off to Fernandes. It was a beautiful move by Manchester United. Fernandes' effort is saved by Martinez, but they are cutting Aston Villa open at the moment, and the first 6 minutes has been a little bit tentative from Aston Villa, and Esby Konsa, just trying to raise the levels, is having a word with one or two of his players.
Yeah, you've got to say, United's play in and around the final third, Sam, has been magnificent. The interchange between the players. The only only thing you would say is when the ball does sweep to the other end, there's a hint of nervousness around their United's back line.
Well, I'm sure there'll be one or two Manchester United fans watching the opening 6 minutes here and saying you've carved out clearer chances in the 7 minutes that we've had at Old Trafford this afternoon than you did in the whole night in Bilbao. Here is Lindelof up to the halfway line, back out to Mazraoui again. Amad Diallo goes round him and on the outside, gets the ball eventually, now has it on the left edge of the box, goes back towards Lindelof, and then Casemiro will chip that over the top of the defence and Bruno Fernandes will chase it. It bounces, he got first contact, but McGinn is there, commits a foul. Thomas Bramall, the referee, gives a free kick, and we are back with Aston Villa on the edge of their own penalty area, and they just need to settle things down, I think, Aston Villa.
Well, yeah, as I say, McGinn's had to do a lot of work in his final third. He's chasing Mazraoui back continually, but at this moment in time, Mazraoui's played a couple of give and goes and got off his back on occasion. Remember,
Aston Villa will finish in the top 5 if they win and Newcastle or Chelsea do not win, or Aston Villa win and Manchester City lose, or Aston Villa draw and Newcastle lose. We'll keep you updated with everything that happens elsewhere. We're still as you were. Here's Dorgu over the halfway line, moving up into an advanced position. Manchester United, the aggressors so far in the opening 8 minutes at Old Trafford. And Mount's had a lot of the ball and he's going one way and the other and getting it past Kamara. Getting a cross in, it's then blocked eventually by Kamara, and Rodgers will try and wriggle free, but Manchester United winning it high up again. Heaven into Fernandes, and Aston Villa just can't get into gear at the moment. Back to Dorgu, who's inside left, tries to move towards the edge of the box, leaves it for Mazraoui. Casemiro strikes it down low and hard towards the goalkeeper's right. He drops on the ball and makes a comfortable save.
Yeah, I mean, United have started the game absolutely brilliantly. The interactions with Bruno and Mason Mount has been so good. But you just get the impression that the more this goes on, they've had 4 efforts at goal this early on. Is it going to be one of them games that Villa go up the other end and get the first goal?
Well, Liverpool are going to get the trophy a little bit later on, and there's already been a goal at Anfield. Matt Jones.
Yeah, Crystal Palace playing party poopers. Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1. Lerma wins the ball in midfield. He slides it through to Sarr, who's completely unmarked, and slots it past Alisson. Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1.
And Liverpool celebrating their second title in 35 years, a record equalling 20th top flight title, but it's not got off to the perfect start. The FA Cup winners are in the lead there at the moment. Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Newcastle and Chelsea will be playing Champions League football. Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest will be in the other European competitions as it stands right now. And that all depends on whether or not Chelsea get into the Europa League via the Conference League competition, which has its final on Wednesday night, live on Talksport. We will be there in Wroclaw for that one. Ball back towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and Martinez then sends it forward, but it's won again on the edge of the penalty area by Amad Diallo. It's out wide towards Mazraoui, whose left-footed ball towards the far post, goes to Dorgu, and then Mount with another strike. It's blocked this time by Pau Torres on the edge of the 6-yard box and taken out into the left fullback position with Martson, who manages to clear up over the halfway line. Here is Casemiro winning it from Asensio. Again, out-muscling Asensio. And I tell you what, a little bit disappointed with the way that Aston Villa have started the game, bearing in mind they need to win this against a team that never win at home. 18 points worse off at this stage last season, Manchester United. They've scored 13 goals fewer. They'll finish with a lower points tally than they ever have before in Premier League history. And they are going to finish in the bottom half of the table, and actually they'll do a very good job not to finish 17th, but at the moment Aston Villa just look timid.
They certainly do, but you've got to give United some credit. I don't think anywhere in the Premier League today someone would have started the game as well as United have today. They've probably had 5 shots at goal at present, and probably all 5 of those have been on target.
Let's go off to the game at the City Ground. Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It's Forest 0, Chelsea 0. Chelsea under Maresca like to dominate the ball, but Forest have seen most of it in the opening exchanges. No shots yet from either side in the opening 11 minutes. Forest 0, Chelsea 0.
Forest guaranteed European football the first time in years. Here's Amad Diallo arriving into the box, the left-footed shot which goes wide of the right-hand upright. It was picked up on the left-hand side by Dorgu. Dorgu sent it down the touchline. Mount again involved, got to the byline, pulled the ball through the box. It missed Hoyland, and actually it was met by Amad Diallo, and it was about a yard or so wide of the post. Never looked like really troubling Emi Martinez. Guaranteed European football, Nottingham Forest, for the first time since 95-96. What that looks like will depend on a number of different things. Of course, if they were to win today, then the likelihood is that they would at least jump up a place, but it could be Champions League football for the first time since 1980-81. Here is Fernandez on the halfway line, getting it back towards Lindelof, and then all the way back to Aidan Heaven, over towards the far touchline now. Manchester United coming forward, just left of the touchline on the far side, finding Mason Mount, and then Casemiro comes infield, in towards Fernandez, who floats it out to Amad Diallo, takes it down. Martson comes out to meet him, but it's all a little bit slow and reactive from Aston Villa, who now might get the chance to break because Asensio's won it. Anana's got it in central midfield. Can they utilise it quickly and get it up the pitch? The answer to that is no. They've played rather cagily and sent it back to the edge of their own penalty area, where Emi Martinez eventually picks it up. So we'll go off to the game at St James's Park. It's live over on Talksport 2, but telling us about the early exchanges is Mickey Gray.
Yeah, it's Newcastle 0, Everton 0, and Everton are doing a very good job of trying to silence this crowd. They just came close with Ndiaye down the left-hand side after a really good move. He got his shot away, but it was blocked just on the edge of the 18-yard area. Newcastle playing very well. It's an open game of football, and the crowd have just started to get involved. Newcastle 0, Everton 0.
Fulham against Manchester City at Craven Cottage is on Talk Radio this afternoon. What's been happening in the first 10 minutes or so? Talksport's Alex Crook.
It's still Fulham 0, Manchester City 0. A point good enough to guarantee Champions League football for the visitors, who've absolutely dominated this game so far. Omar Marmoush with a 25-yard free kick over the bar, the closest we've come to a goal. Fulham, well, they've not started yet. Fulham 0, Manchester City 0.
It's out to McGinn, who sets it back to the edge of the area. Martson on the edge of the box for Aston Villa. McGinn in towards the far post, headed away by Dorgu. And Aston Villa with their first attack of the game, causing Manchester United problems. It's still 0-0 at Old Trafford, but they've got the ball inside the United half here. It's collected by Onana, in towards Asensio. Asensio towards the left-hand side. McGinn sets up Martson. Martson waits, brings Onana back into play again for Villa. Manchester United camped on the edge of their own penalty area now and retreating as the ball comes in from the left-hand side from Asensio. It's flicked away by Maguire and just ahead of Watkins. And then with Cash coming in at the far post, Dorgu goes out there and rectifies the situation for Manchester United. Still 0-0.
Yeah, as I say, United have started the game brilliantly. You know, they've had efforts at goal, but they've only scored 42 goals in the Premier League this year. And probably on what we're seeing at the moment, the football's been quite good, certainly early on in this game, but they've not really tested Martinez well enough. And Villa, with their only effort, probably look more threatening to score.
Well, the Premier League shot conversion rate for Manchester United, just to back up what you're saying, is 8.4% this season. There is only one team in the Premier League that have got a lower shot conversion rate than that: Southampton.
Well, it tells you everything. And I'll tell you the glaring thing from all the efforts that United have had, the centre forward has not been a contributor to any of those.
And that's been a theme of the last few weeks, I'm afraid, for Rasmus Højlund, which is, I think, something they need to address in the summer. Whether or not there's the resources to do that is a story for another day. Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0, Fulham 0, Manchester City 0, Ipswich 0, West Ham 0, Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0 here, Newcastle United 0, Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 0, Southampton 0, Arsenal 0, Tottenham 0, Brighton 0, but there's something happening there. We're there in just a second. Wolves 0, Brentford 0. You're up to date on Talksport, and as it stands, it's as you were, with Manchester City, Newcastle and Chelsea joining Arsenal and Liverpool in the Champions League. Ball to the back post from the left-hand side. It's a little bit too high, and out comes Emi Martinez and grabs it ahead of Harry Maguire. Let's go off to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. A penalty for Alfie Reynolds.
16 minutes gone. Tottenham 0, Brighton 0. Penalty for Spurs. Vifa bringing down Tell, stepping on his foot as he cut onto his right inside the area. It means Solanke, standing over this penalty, has an opportunity to put Spurs into the lead, and he does so. Sends the ball down the middle, off the underside of the crossbar, and the party atmosphere continues. It's Tottenham 1, Brighton 0.
Brighton need a point to finish in 8th position. They can only be denied 8th position if they lose, and Brentford win away at Wolves. It's currently Wolves 0, Brentford 0, and they want to get 8th because they want to try and get into the Conference League.
I think Mazraoui's pulled his hamstring.
Well, that's a problem.
Stone dead there. Won the ball really well in his own box and stopped stone dead. Just clutched the hamstring.
Yeah, that's a problem for Nusair Mazraoui, and Diogo Dalot is already warming up away to our left-hand side very quickly out. And it was pretty apparent as soon as he pulled up, just having a look at the replay there, that he has got a problem with his right hamstring. You're listening to Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0. Talksport with Sky Sports, and watch the Premier League final day before the countdown begins to a huge new season where Sky Sports have at least 215 live games, up from 128. Subscription required. And the physio's out having a word with Mazraoui, but he's definitely not going to be able to continue after that, Stuart.
You wouldn't think so. No, there's no sign at all of that happening.
Of course, that Tottenham goal does have an impact on Manchester United's finishing position. The way it stands at the moment, Manchester United dropped to 17th, which would mean that they finish just above the dotted line of relegation, should things stay as they are right now.
I've got to say, Sam, when you say there's no chance of him carrying on, I watched Morello last week being golf buggied off.
True.
And then all of a sudden turned up again at half-time for the second half. Quite incredible.
Yes, he had a miracle recovery, didn't he?
It was amazing.
Is he in the team today? I think he is as well, isn't he, Maria?
You would think so. For Forest's sake, I hope so.
He absolutely is. And anything changes in that game, then we will give you an update here on Talksport. Here is Onana through the centre circle with Martson speeding down the left-hand side. He moves up towards the edge of the area, sends it wide onto Rodgers, who flicks it into the inside right channel, looking for the run of Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins. Out comes the goalkeeper Altay, and he will clear away, and there's confirmation of the substitution, the first one of the game. Diogo Dalot on for the injured Nusair Mazraoui.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think Mazraoui started the game pretty well. They'll just hope that it's a like-for-like scenario, and the pressure keeps getting maintained.
Well, it's still 0-0 here. Tottenham are leading by a goal to nil at home against Brighton. Crystal Palace are 1-0 up against Liverpool, and there has been a goal in the game at Molineux. Talksport's Ian Stringer.
A significant one if results go elsewhere for Brentford's way, because they've scored. Wolves 0, Brentford 1, a 21st of the season in all competition for Brian Mbeumo. It was terrible defending from Wolves, poked into the 18-yard box from 12 yards or so, buried with no keeper in the net. Wolves have been the better side, but it's Wolves 0, Brentford 1.
Ivan Toney was called up to the England squad this week, but Brentford have done just fine without him. Visser and Mbeumo both with 20 goals each this season. 19 in the Premier League for Visser, 20 now for Mbeumo. Ball over on the right-hand side, played in by Asensio, and Watkins was looking to escape, but the offside flag was up against him, despite the fact that he felt he was fouled anyway. It wouldn't have counted because the assistant over on the far side was very handy with the flag. If both Visser and Mbeumo were to score today, and Mbeumo's already off the mark, then they would become only the 5th duo to score 20 or more Premier League goals for the same club in a single Premier League season. The other 4, Salah and Mane, Suarez and Sturridge, Drogba and Lampard, and Cole and Beardsley.
To be fair, they're in great company, and those two, well, what they've delivered this year for Brentford has been nothing short of sensational.
Here it's 0-0 between Manchester United and Aston Villa, with Aston Villa trying to get into the Champions League alongside Manchester City, Newcastle, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest, all vying for a place in the top 5 today. No goals in any of those key significant games so far, as the ball is chipped down the left by Aidan Heaven in towards Dorgu. There has now been a goal at Craven Cottage. Here's Talksport's Alex Crook.
And it's gone to the visitors. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. This should ease any anxiety that they'll miss out on a place in the Champions League. Good break down the Manchester City right. It was a Mateus Nunes, I think, with the initial shot that was saved by Bernd Leno. And Ilkay Gundogan from 4 yards out. An overhead kick turns in the rebound. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
Well, Manchester City have got 14 consecutive top 4 finishes under their belt. The last time they finished outside the top 4 was 2009-2010 when they finished 5th. But defeat could mean no Champions League football for the first time for Manchester City since then. Pep actually did say that he would park the bus today. No need, because they're in front by a goal to nil. Live on Talk Radio right now. Here is Watkins in towards McGinn. And now Rodgers, tackled by Casemiro. Fernandes trying to get there as well. Anana wins the ball. He then turns it back to halfway. Still Newcastle United 0, Everton 0, and Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 0. Here it's 0-0 between Manchester United and Villa. Manchester City the only one scoring so far, and they are moving towards cementing a place in next season's top European competition. Up through the middle of the park, Emi Martinez fires it into Ollie Watkins. He can't really get into the game at the moment, Stuart. And Aston Villa as an attacking unit haven't fired particularly well. It's a little bit cagey. It's a little bit like everybody knows that there's a lot at stake for Villa.
Yeah, as I say, Villa have been starved of the ball in the main. They've had probably 2 or 3 semi-attacks so far, but in the main it's been United. But the game is just settling into a pattern at the moment, and Villa are sort of playing further up the pitch.
No shots on target, no big chances so far. Very little in terms of anything to shout about. 35% of the ball for Aston Villa. Manchester United have an expected goals total of 1 already. Total shots of 6, 4 on target, 1 massive chance. And they're dominating possession as well. But it is still 0-0, and you're listening to Talksport. Live on the final day of the season. Mount's been involved a lot, and he's got the ball on the left-hand side of the box now. He sends the ball in towards the near post, looking for Rasmus Højlund, steered away by Konza, the central defender, getting in front of his goalkeeper and protecting that goal and away to our right in front of the scoreboard. Then it goes out for a throw-in over on the far side.
Super ball there. I think it was Maguire who's hit a raking pass, and great movement by Mount. It's good to see Mount back, isn't it? Playing well for United. He's been out so long, or on the edges of it.
Yeah, didn't have the greatest game on Wednesday night. Started the game brightly, then sort of faded really as Manchester United toiled with Tottenham banking up behind the ball. But he certainly has looked better in recent weeks than he has done in his Manchester United tenure, where he's been plagued by injury. Here is Dalot down the right side, a low ball into the near post, away by Pau Torres. And it's cleared out on this near touchline and away for a throw, which Lindelof wanted to get on with very, very quickly. Dalot takes over. He was on because of an injury to Mazraoui. Throws the ball back towards halfway. Collected by Maguire. Sent across to Aidan Heaven, whose injury that he picked up a couple of months ago looked like it was going to be a season-ending injury, but thankfully it wasn't as bad as first feared. He gives it back to Maguire. Maguire takes a couple of steps forward. And there was a lot of sort of disappointment after Wednesday night's game for Manchester United and their supporters. And there was certainly a bit of a, PR campaign, I think, from some who want to agitate for a move straight afterwards. But they've looked a lot better today. And they certainly look together as they've attacked more often than Aston Villa in the opening 25 minutes. It's all right doing it when the pressure's off. Anana goes forward, is challenged by a combination of Ahmad and Dalot. And Ahmad, I think, was the one who left it just a little bit on Anana. And Anana has gone down as a result.
Yeah, I think Anana, the ball's been played into him. His first touch weren't great, so he's ended up in a 50-50-ish. He's retrieved the situation, just about. Then he's gone into another challenge, then another one. And all come from the first touch being a little bit wayward.
He's still getting some treatment down in front of us, and he looks in quite significant pain. It's Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0 on Talksport with Enterprise Redecra making a big move or planning a clear out. With vans of all shapes and sizes, if you've got a plan, they've got a van. Unai Emery wants to take Villa into Europe every season he said that they're only qualified for the Champions League if they win, and either Manchester City lose and they're winning, Newcastle fail to win, or Chelsea fail to win. A point will be enough if Newcastle lose today. So let's find out what's happening at the City Ground. Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It remains Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 0. It's been a pretty cagey game. Forest have looked more threatening. Chelsea have had the only shot in the game, wasn't on target, and it's Forest 0, Chelsea 0.
Forest have won just 2 of their league games since the start of April. They're winless in the last 3 at home. Chelsea have won 6 of their last 7, but away from home it's been a bit of a problem. Chelsea have won 1 in 10 on their Premier League travels. What about Newcastle United? They won the last 6 in the Premier League at St James's Park. How are they getting on against Everton, Mickey Gray?
It's still Newcastle 0, Everton 0, and it's the away side who've had the better opportunities. Alcaraz coming close from a free kick from 25 yards out moments ago, and James Garner, a beautiful strike from the edge of the 18 area, had to be parried around the post by Nick Pope. Super save from the goalkeeper. Newcastle yet to hit the target. You can hear the crowd. They're getting frustrated. Newcastle 0, Everton 0.
A little bit of anxiety, you imagine, with the Chelsea and Forest supporters at the City Ground, Newcastle United and Aston Villa here, and I wonder what's going on down at Craven Cottage. We'll get there in just a second, but Manchester United have a free kick just in from the touchline over on the far side, midway inside Aston Villa territory, attacking the goal away to our right, and Bruno Fernandes presiding over it. Mason Mount is standing just to his right, and they touch it to one another. Fernandes plays it down the left for Mount. Mount cuts it back to Dorgu. It went through his legs, and now it's gone back to Fernandes, whose right-footed cross is attacked by Heaven. He's glided into by Martinez, kept alive by Maguire. A lovely little Cruyff turn. He's still inside the penalty area here. He sent the ball back for Dalot. He's hit the outside of the post. It's come back to Lindelof. It's fallen to Heaven. Hyland can't sort his feet out. It's smuggled behind and out for a corner. What a chance for Manchester United. Dalot hit the post in all of that. I think there was an offside flag that went up, which means it will not now be a corner. But Manchester United carving out another good opportunity. And after making an early save, Emi Martinez, he's had to watch the ball hit the woodwork. It's 0-0.
Well, absolute carnage in the box, and it was Maguire. Well, I wouldn't say of all people, because of recent weeks he's been the most effective striker when they've had to throw him up front. Brilliant on the touchline, kept it alive, laid back a shooting opportunity. Diallo smashed the post. Martinez has been poor. He's come for the cross and missed it totally. And the biggest scramble you've ever seen has ensued.
Yeah. It wasn't offside from the initial ball in. Heaven was offside once he got involved after being on the floor from a collision which happened before that. So if Dallow's shot goes in, it's a goal for Manchester United. Didn't materialise that way, but they've had the better chances, no doubt. Aston Villa struggling to find a rhythm. Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0. Live on Talksport. Free kick then to be taken by Emi Martinez, who's slowed things down. And he will clear upfield through the middle of the pitch, looking for Watkins. Can't get hold of it. Comes back into midfield, won by Fernandes in the centre circle. He guides it back to Lindelof. Manager Ruben Amorim looking a little bit animated. Unai Emery looking a little vexed as it stands at the moment. Certainly a cagey start to the game at Nottingham Forest, a cagey start to the game from Newcastle United, and a cagey start from Aston Villa. Tentative, I think, as all these teams try to force their way into Europe's top competition this afternoon. As it stands, it's going to be Manchester City, Newcastle and Chelsea who join Arsenal and Liverpool in the Champions League. Ball has been played, well, into midfield and then given away by the Aston Villa number 27, Morgan Rogers. It runs all the way through to Altay, and Manchester United in command again.
There was an expectation that Watkins was going to dart in behind, but he misread it totally, stayed put, and it looked a poor ball.
Well, it's not been a great start for Aston Villa. I'm sure that Unai Emery will say there's still every chance. If they were to score now, then they would move up into those Champions League places. So everything's on a knife edge as we go into the final hour of the season. 15 minutes to go in the first half. 0-0. Manchester United against Aston Villa. 0-0 Bournemouth Leicester. Fulham 0 Manchester City 1, Ipswich 0, West Ham 0, Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0, Everton 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 0, Southampton 0, Arsenal 0, Tottenham 1, Brighton 0, Solanke from the penalty spot, Wolves 0, Brentford 1, Brian Mbeumo with the goal there. Ball up towards Dallow, edge of the penalty area, takes it down brilliantly in front of McGinn, back to Ahmad, then Fernandes, into Dallow, across the face of goal. He should have pulled the trigger. It was cleared eventually by Konsa, out to this near side and out for a corner, but Diego Dallow, if he shoots there, surely Stuart Pearce he scores.
Without a doubt. Whether he'd have been offside is an interesting point, but the bottom line is, you're right what you said, he's run onto it, it's inside his body, he should be swinging the left foot at that, or even side-footing it past the goalkeeper on the volley.
Well, you just wonder whether or not it's going to be Aston Villa's day, because they've had a number of let-offs so far. He was definitely onside, Stuart.
He was. Matty Cash slow out in the right back berth, would have played him on, but they've been symptomatic of a team that have not looked clinical in front of goal at the moment.
Here's the corner to be taken by Amad Diallo on this near side. He sends it back to the edge of the area. Fernandes back out towards Diallo, who clips it towards the far post, headed into the air by Maguire, pushed by the defender. Casemiro lays it back, and then out comes Emi Martinez and has to smother the ball. I think it might have gone out of play anyway, but either way, Manchester United are putting Aston Villa under serious pressure at the moment, and they've got to hold their nerve here. 32 minutes, and they've rocked through pretty much most of those. Right from the very off, Manchester United came out, eyes laser focused and football free flowing, and Aston Villa are yet to adjust to it. It's their big day. They're supposed to come here and knock over Manchester United, finish the season on a high and claim a place in Europe's top competition. That doesn't look likely at the moment.
No, the only plus for Villa at present is it's nil, and that's down to probably the lack of clinical finishing and Martinez being an ample barrier.
Here is Dorgu in possession for Manchester United, midway inside Aston Villa's half of the field. Listen, if you've come to Manchester United as often as we've been fortunate to do over the course of this season, I don't think I've seen them play as well as this.
They've been outstanding, haven't they? They really have.
Fernandes into Casemiro, picks the ball up in a pocket of space in the number 10 position, looks for Dallow inside the area, it comes back to him after it's headed clear. Now Mount's got it, edge of the box, right footed towards the near post. It's saved by Emi Martinez. Wasn't the most vicious effort from Mason Mount, but it's the latest in a string of opportunities for Manchester United to pierce this flimsy looking Aston Villa defence.
Yeah, as I say, they're playing out from the back a little bit. I don't know whether the wind's swirling in and around us, isn't it? I don't know what it's like down on the pitch, whether it's playing against Villa at the moment, but they're playing out from the back, and they look better off just missing out the playing out from the backs. They've not been great at it, and Matty Cash is not looking to play forward in any way, shape or form. They're going to keep coming backwards all the time, and it's drawing United onto them. Yeah, the wind is an absolute nightmare. It has been all day in Manchester. I went for a walk earlier and then went back home and got a jumper, just in case. You've got to find flimsy skin, some say, my friend. Hold on. Aren't you sitting there in a sort of rain jacket, shirt and undershirt? I've got a gig tonight, fella, outdoors. Don't worry. I was a bit chilly last night. Kamara goes down under pressure from Fernandes. You saw the K's last night, didn't Very you? Good. Yeah, outstanding. Yeah, in one of these big circus tents. The atmosphere in there was wonderful. Yeah, they're a good band. I saw them at Wythenshawe Park down the road from here last year. Very impressive. So far, no tune out of Aston Villa. Here on the right side is Cash into the penalty area. It's a brilliant ball. No one attacked it. And it goes over the head of Onana and floats out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. Yeah, this game's so nicely balanced. I mean, on the run of play, United are way in front. But you always get that impression, because, I suppose, of United's recent form and their flimsy nature, that they've got every opportunity of getting beat in this one. Only goal so far on Premier League Sunday final day. Manchester City are leading Fulham by a goal to nil. That should cement the place for them in the Champions League if it stays like that. Crystal Palace are beating the champions Liverpool, the FA Cup winners, in front through a goal from Ismaila Sarr.
And the only other goal we've had so far, Tottenham 1, Brighton 0, and Wolves 0, Brentford 1. You're up to date on Talksport. Remember, our app is the place to be. You can flick between all of the games that we've got commentary on throughout the course of the afternoon. All of the big ones are very tight. And this one is going the way of Manchester United, but as is usual with Manchester United, they just can't find a way through. They can pick up opportunities, they can create good overloads, but they are very low goal scorers. It's been a problem for a couple of years. It's only got worse this campaign.
I'll tell you what, United have done quite well. They've either played through the thirds with intricate football and got to the touchline, or alternatively there's been a couple of raking diagonals that have gone in behind that they've stretched Villa with.
Dalot dispossessed by McGinn. Pau Torres has allowed that to bounce. That caused him a bit of grief when he played a poor ball out of defence. Picked up by Fernandes. Now Dorgu wanders in field. Dalot hugs the touchline near side. Ahmad drops in to pick it up just short of the 18-yard box. Fernandes to the left. Now Heaven. And Manchester United controlling the game up until this point. 37 gone. 0-0. Here is Fernandes round the corner, but it's a little bit too heavy, and Boubacar Kamara will go across and just keep him at arm's length, play it into midfield, and now a chance for them to break, and there could be a possibility here. Oh, what a challenge from Ahmad, getting back to funnel in to help out his midfield and defence, and winning the ball back for Manchester United.
I'll tell you what, if he didn't get a challenge in there, which was not sort of symptomatic of the way he plays in many ways, but it's a fantastic challenge. It stopped an attack stone dead.
I think they've missed him when he wasn't available because of injury, that is for sure. His energy and his endeavour, and certainly has brought that to Manchester United whenever he has been fit. Ball cleared away from the right full-back position. He actually watched Sunderland in their playoff game, didn't he, the semi-final the other week, because he's so fond of the time that he had there. He would have been happy yesterday. Here is Altay, clearing through the middle of the park, headed away and down by Pau Torres. He gives it back to his goalkeeper, and they will look to build again.
I think with Villa being so composed and the goalie being so composed with the ball at his feet, that Villa sort of rely on him as a safe haven, and I think they overuse him slightly, Sam.
Watkins has given the ball away, dropping deep to pick it up. He funneled backwards rather than forwards, then tried to turn, was dispossessed by a combination of Fernandes and Casemiro. Fernandes first, and then he took it back over the halfway line, and Manchester United look to build again. 39 gone. This is Talksport. Here is Aidan Heaven, all the way to Altay, who hasn't played too often. He came under scrutiny for appearing to celebrate one of the goals that West Ham scored against them. It actually was a mistake. He was furious with himself. That was what it looked like, but he was certainly upset about that. And he's been frustrated, I think, over the course of the campaign as Altay Biandir. Oh, given away this time by Ahmad and picked up by Asensio, edge of the area. Now McGinn with a bit of room to get a shot away. Gets onto his right foot, takes a deflection, bounds away to this left-hand side. Martin is the one to react quickest. Aston Villa on the front foot here. Dalot goes across, robs him of the ball, pushes it out of play, and it's out for a corner. Let's go off to the City Ground, see if there's any further developments from Talksport's Jeff Peters.
Still Forest 0, Chelsea 0. Forest more on the front foot, but Chelsea with the best chance. Pedro Neto 6 yards out, brilliantly found by Palmer, but volleyed it over the bar. Forest 0, Chelsea 0.
Chelsea without a striker because Nicholas Jackson was sent off against Newcastle a couple of weeks ago live on Talksport. He's missing the end of the Premier League season as a result of that. Neto, I think, moving forward into a false nine position today. Ball into the box, flicked by Aidan Heaven for Manchester United to get it clear. Cash stops Ahmad from escaping, but Mount is there to back him up. And from the corner, Manchester United get out very quickly and get up to the halfway line straight away. Mount plays it against the defender. Won by Casemiro. Dorgu charging through the middle, but Martinez is going to get there first. Chelsea making only one change from their victory over Manchester United, which was tight and tense as well. And that was Tyreek George going off to the bench and Jadon Sancho being able to play today. Let's go off to the game at St James's Park. Mickey Gray.
Today, a missed opportunity so far, Simon. Still Newcastle 0, Everton 0. Everton had just came very close. Good play by Mikolenko down the left-hand side. Put a wonderful ball into the box for Alcaraz. His header was brilliantly saved by Nick Pope and tipped over the bar. But there was a fantastic double save from Jordan Henderson. The first shot coming from Tonali at the edge of the area. He parried that one. Isak came with a follow-up. Jordan Pickford got himself back up on his feet to save the second one. Brilliant game of football. Newcastle 0, Everton 0.
How Jordan Pickford would love to stop Newcastle United from getting in to the Champions League. They are looking to get into the Champions League for a second time in 3 seasons. They haven't finished in third position since 2002-2003. That can only happen if Manchester City drop points today. At the moment, they're leading by a goal to 0 at Fulham. Tottenham leading, Brentford leading, Palace leading away at Liverpool. They're the only goals on the final day of the Premier League season. A Premier League season which has seen quite a lot of goals this campaign. Fewer goals than last season, 1,091 coming into the final day, but still the second highest goal scoring season by a mile in the Premier League. One of the things that has been prevalent this season, Stuart, is that we have had more comebacks than ever before in the Premier League this campaign. So nothing is ever certain. The Aston Villa fans certainly looking a little bit tense at the moment. In fact, there's an Aston Villa fan dressed up as the lion from The Wizard of Oz. Maybe he wants his team to show a little bit more courage.
Put 'em up, put 'em up.
You have to be of a certain generation to get that, Stuart, I think.
Do you really?
Well, the Wizard of Oz film was probably released, what?
1939.
Wow.
There you go.
So you were in short trousers then.
No, I was. Still at school. No, hang on, just left.
Here is Cash over towards the far side, looking for Rodgers. He's held by Aidan Heaven. The ball goes out of play, and it's away for a throw to Aston Villa on the halfway line. There has been a goal down at St Mary's. It's Talksport's Lawrence Morrow.
Jake Robson here, 43 minutes on the clock. It's Southampton 0, Arsenal 1. Kieran Tierney, what a time to pop up with a goal from him. Really well worked move, crossed by White and back-heeled in by Tierney. It's Southampton 0, Arsenal 1.
Good news for Arsenal, who have already really cemented second place. Jake Robson there at St Mary's. Alex Crook is watching the game at Craven Cottage. Manchester City in front the last time we were with you. What's the situation now?
Well, it's still Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. The overhead kick from point-blank range from Ilkay Gundogan, but Harry Wilson inches away here from equalising for the home side. The ball was pinged out to Wilson, right corner of the penalty area, cuts in on his left foot, drills it low towards the bottom corner. Great save by Ederson. Fulham are growing into this one. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
Corner for Aston Villa, set in towards the near post, poked away by Altay. Comes back out as far as Martson, who delivers it back into the area, down the right side of the box. It's too heavy for Marco Asensio and floats out of play. Let's get a goal at Pullman Road. Mike Sewell.
It's Ipswich 0, West Ham 1. James Ward-Prowse with the goal made by Jared Bowen after Sam Morsey's back pass was pounced upon by Bowen. He squared for Ward-Prowse, who was unmarked, and he steered it into the Ipswich net. Ipswich 0, West Ham 1.
Graham Potter saying that it will be an exciting summer for West Ham United. Well, it hasn't been a very exciting season, so it probably needs to be. They lead by a goal to 0. It's currently Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0 here at Old Trafford on a cloudy, windy day in Manchester. The latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Manchester United to win at 9-4, back the draw at 7-4. Aston Villa to win is 11-8. That's all thanks to Betfair. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Football Hackers or Bet Builders this week. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus. BigGambleAware.org. How would you sum up the first half, Stuart Pearce?
Well, I think it's been a really, really good display from United, but Villa have demonstrated on the counter-attack. I don't know whether they look as though they can be more potent than United, or whether I've just got it in my mind that United can be a bit vulnerable and fragile at the back, but it's been a really good open game. I've really enjoyed it. There's been plenty of chances, but no one's been clinical enough in either of the two boxes.
8 shots from Manchester United, 1 from Aston Villa, 5 on target from Manchester United, none from Aston Villa. The chances that have come have been pretty much Manchester United chances.
Yeah, they certainly have, and they have dominated the game. And I think if there's going to be a goal coming from Villa, it will come from probably a mistake by United playing out from the back.
2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half here on Talksport. That's a short ball back, and Rasmus Højlund has been knocked to the floor by Emi Martinez, and he's going to be sent off here. Has he denied the goal scoring opportunity? Yes, he has. He's off, and Villa, on the day in which they need to win in order to get into the Champions League, to have any hope of getting into the Champions League, have lost their talismanic goalkeeper to a sending off on the stroke of half-time. The ball played short, Højlund running up towards the edge of the area. Emi Martinez did not play the ball. He knocked Rasmus Højlund to the floor. The referee decided that was the denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, and he has been sent off, having made 2 crucial saves already.
Well, just in the process of talking about making a mistake at the back, but it was Villa who made the mistake from the back. And once again, I mentioned earlier about using the goalkeeper a little bit too readily as that safe haven, and it was Stuart Cash once again turning backwards, going towards his goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper was never in a million years going to get there, but he carried on coming, and he's absolutely taken Højlund out.
Straight red card from Thomas Bramall will be checked by VAR. There was a yellow card for protest over on the far side. The Manchester United supporters are waving at Emi Martinez. He was in tears when he played at Villa Park just a few days ago, and you just wonder whether or not that this is the last that Aston Villa will see of him in their colours. It's certainly not what he wanted. He has been sent off, and he's stalking from one corner of the pitch to the other to go down the tunnel. And Aston Villa have been reduced to 10 players. They've got to make a substitution here because they have no goalkeeper. And from the bench, they're going to have to call upon Robin Olsen, who's making only his 5th appearance of the season. And that is a huge, huge worry. Not the most accomplished of goalkeepers. He's a very experienced goalkeeper, Robin Olsen, but whenever he's come into the side, he has had his problems for Aston Villa, and that will be in the front of the mind of those Aston Villa supporters who can't quite believe what they've witnessed here. Their goalkeeper has been sent off on the stroke of half-time. We've played the 2 minutes of added time, and this is the biggest development in any of those huge matches that are taking place in the race for the Champions League. Remember, Manchester City, Newcastle, Aston Villa, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest all vying for a place at Europe's top table next season. But Aston Villa have lost their goalkeeper. They're taking off Marco Asensio, and he is going to be replaced by Robin Olsen, who's going to come on when he's ready, and he is taking his time over the situation. There was a yellow card for Ahmed, I think, for kicking the ball away over on the far side after that decision had been made. So 0-0, Villa down to 10 players, having had twice voted the world's best goalkeeper sent off.
Well, I've got to say it was a definite sending off for me, but having watched the FA Cup final last weekend and the referee saying that Haaland was going away from goal was the excuse, well, that ball was going away from goal as well.
And it's supposed to be denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, and with all due respect, it was Rasmus Højlund, and he was 15 yards from goal, wide on the left-hand side.
Well, I'm not sure whether you can actually look at the player's goal-scoring form and suggest it.
I didn't say that. Did I say that?
You implied it.
I was just pointing out the geography. Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 0. 49 minutes played. Villa have got some work to do now, because if they want to get to the Champions League, they're probably going to have to win. Here is Fernandes. Dorgu back to Dalot, and he's clipped that way over the top of the crossbar, and it's out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. Well, Unai Emery has got some serious reorganisation to do in the half-time break. He's got to formulate a way of Aston Villa getting into the game, and now they've got to do it with one fewer players.
Yeah, exactly. At the moment, they're relying on United taking their foot off the accelerator a little bit, because they have been apart from getting a goal, United have been absolutely super in their football. You know, real confidence about it. Mount and Bruno, as you would expect, have been very instrumental in that.
Onana on halfway, back to Pau Torres, who sends it out to Cash. Cash approaching the halfway line, bends it round towards Aidan Heaven, who gets in front of Rodgers. And the problem is, when they send the ball up now, there's one less player to aim at for Aston Villa. Here is Mount holding the ball on the far touchline, gets it back to Casemiro. Dorgu in field. Well, that's a poor ball back, and McGinn is chasing it. Lindelof is going to get there, and only just. And then when he played it, McGinn almost picked it up anyway. Fernandes switches the play out to the left, and before it can reach Mason Mount, who was through, the referee blows the half-time whistle. Well, I'm not necessarily sure he was right to do so at that particular moment, but he has done. Manchester United leading in terms of numbers on the field, 0-0 the score at half-time. That Villa can't expect anyone else to help them out if they can't help themselves, and at any other time failing to beat Manchester United, I suppose, would just be the normal way of things. But against this Manchester United, it feels like a dereliction of duty. They're down to 10 players at half-time, having had Emi Martinez sent off, and Aston Villa are drawing 0-0 with Manchester United at half-time.
Well, let me tell you the picture at the top of the table at half-time. Obviously, Liverpool are champions, Arsenal second, they're both in the Champions League. Man City will be there as well. They're on 71 as things stand. And then Newcastle in fourth on 67. Chelsea in fifth on 67. Villa in sixth on 67. Forest in seventh on 66. Let's take you around the grounds here, what's happened in the first half. Starting here at the City Ground, Jeff Peters.
Yeah, Forest 0, Chelsea 0, and as you say, Adrian, as it stands, it's Champions League for Chelsea, Conference League for Forest. Not many clear-cut chances from either side on a tense afternoon. Chelsea had the first big opportunity, lovely move. Madueke found Cole Palmer on the right, perfectly weighted cross towards Pedro Neto, 6 yards out, and his steered volley attempt sailed over the bar. At the other end, almost a carbon copy. Aina with a cross from the right. Chris Wood quicker to the ball than Sanchez. The keeper was beaten, but Wood's volley was too high. Forest have to win to stand any chance of making the Champions League. They've had more verve and energy about them, and you can see why Chelsea's away form has been poor this year. Forest 0, Chelsea 0.
That Wood volley goes in, and Nottingham Forest would be in the top 5 and in the Champions League as things stand. But it's goalless here at the City Ground. Let's get half-time at St James Park. Mickey Gray.
Yeah, it's Newcastle 0, Everton 0, and David Moyes really has come to upset the party at St James's Park. They started the game very brightly and had two very good opportunities in the middle of the first half. James Garner from outside the edge of the 18-yarder with a super strike that had to be pushed around the corner by the goalkeeper Nick Pope. They did have another great chance after that. Down the left-hand side, Mikolenko with a great ball into the area, and Alcaraz got his head on it. He headed towards the top corner, and Nick Pope again had to tip it over the top of the crossbar. Newcastle did then start to come into the game, and a beautiful double save from ex-Sunderland player Jordan Pickford. The first coming from Tonali. He parried his shot, and Isak came in with a follow-up. Pickford got himself up back onto his feet and made a super second save. Botman came close with a header which was also tipped over the top of the crossbar. But Newcastle need to do more in the second half. They haven't been clinical enough in front of goal. They can do better in the second half, and they want to finish in those top 4 or 5 Champions League positions. At the break, Newcastle 0, Everton 0.
Half-time at Craven Cottage. Talksport's Alex Crook.
It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. The visitors dominated the early exchanges, deservedly took the lead on 21 minutes. Ilkay Gundogan with the overhead kick from point-blank range after a good save initially by Bernd Leno, kept out an attempt by Mateus Nunes. But Fulham have had chances since then. Harry Wilson twice drawing good saves from Ederson. Adama Traore fluffed his lines when one-on-one with the City goalkeeper, and Tom Kearney inches away from a farewell goal when he curled narrowly wide. At the other end, Jeremy Doku has side-footed wide when he should have at least tested Leno, and Marmoush saw his shot blocked after great work down the left by Doku. City sitting pretty in third as it stands. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
Right, rest of the half-time's coming up shortly, but let's get the latest from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage.
Game day on Talksport with Betfair. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on football accas or bet builders this week. Up to Opt-in and previous deposit required. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Well, Sam Rosbottom from Betfair. I'll just reiterate, Man City all set in third place as things stand. Newcastle and Chelsea make up the rest of the top five. So as it stands, City, Newcastle, Chelsea joining Arsenal and Liverpool in the Champions League next season. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, Manchester City, it would seem, out of those clubs that are vying for a top five place, are the only side at the minute to take the bull by the horns. Looking at that game at Old Trafford, Aston Villa now down to 10 men. The odds have completely flipped on their head. Manchester United now favourites to win that game. Having been as big as 3-1 before kick-off, United now into 10-11. Villa, who desperately need those 3 points, out to 9-2 with just 10 men on the pitch. The draw now 13-8 in that one. At St James's, Newcastle still really fancied. They're as short as 1-2 to get all 3 points. Looking at Everton, can they cause an upset? Now into 7-1. The draw in that one 5-2. And where you are, Adrian, the City ground, Nottingham Forest now 5-2. Chelsea currently still edging it at 13-8 when it comes to the punters and who they're backing. The draw in that one 11-8, but a massive 45 minutes coming up for those teams. Don't forget as well, we have got our charity treble on. We backed Newcastle and Everton to be a draw, so things looking pretty good there. We did back Forest to beat Chelsea, and we also went with Aston Villa to beat United, which obviously with Villa now down to 10 men could be tricky, but hey, they are playing Manchester United, so who knows. But we did back that at just short of 25-1, so our £50 charity stake will return just short of £1,300 if all three landed. Fingers crossed that is the case come 90 minutes.
Cheers, Sam. That odds update, all thanks to Betfair, returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Game day on Talksport with Betfair. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on football hackers or bet builders this week. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So what about the rest of the games? Let's go to Tottenham first of all. Talksport's Alfie Reynolds.
Half-time, Tottenham 1, Brighton 0. Solanke's penalty gives Spurs the lead. It was awarded after Vifa stepped on Tell's foot inside the box and Solanke sent it down the middle. They almost scored a second, but a brilliant Verbruggen stop denied Tell, and Brighton's best chance, a Hinshelwood header at the front post, which Vicario saved. For Brighton, if it stays this way, they risk Brentford leapfrogging them into 8th and possibly losing European football next season. Half-time, Tottenham 1, Brighton 0.
Yeah, as it stands, Brentford are 8th because of this. Molineux Ian Stringer.
Because of the goal that came from the boot of Mbeumo, just 20 minutes on the clock. Keeper Sarr came out to try and close down a move. It broke quickly. It was Norgard who squared it. Mbeumo with his 21st in all competition for the season. And Brentford, Adrian, have had 2 other chances. They could have made it 2 and 3. Wolves started well, but they petered out. Strand Larsen is coming on for the Wolves at half-time. It's half-time here. Brentford are into 8th. It's Wolves 0, Brentford 1.
And to Anfield half-time, Matt Jones.
Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1. Here Ismail Assar scoring the goal as he was set through by Lerma and converted past Alisson. Liverpool have had chances to get back in it. 3 for Diaz. Henderson making one outrageous save to stop him. It looks like Trent Alexander-Arnold might be coming on at half-time. Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Leicester's unbeaten form goes on at the Vitality. Lawrence Moura.
It does. It's Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0 at the break. Bournemouth, though, have had all the ball, all the play, and pretty much all the chances too. Their best opportunities have seen David Brooks twice foiled by smart saves from Stolajic in the visitors' goal. Foxes have had the ball in the net from a rare attack, but it was rightly ruled out for offside. At the break, Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0.
Portman Road, half-time, Mike Sewell.
Ipswich 0, West Ham 1. James Ward-Prowse with his first goal since May of last year. If a little scrappy at times, the first half fizzed along energetically. Both goalkeepers, Fabianski and Walton, made good saves from Broadhead and Bowen respectively to thwart an opening goal. Hutchinson also struck the West Ham post. Then, in the 43rd minute, Bowen picked off Morsey's short back pass to tee up Ward-Prowse. Ipswich 0, West Ham 1.
Now, City win and Arsenal lose. They finished level on points, believe it or not? Arsenal were never going to lose this at St Mary's. Jake Robson.
Southampton 0, Arsenal 1, a classic game between two sides with nothing to play for. A first half which lacked intensity, and after a number of chances squandered by the visitors, 2 to the break, they had their goal. Well-worked move that saw Martinelli release White down the right. His cross found Tierney, who back-heeled in from close range, his first of the season. Incidentally, an hour before kick-off, Southampton announced Will Still as their new manager for next season. It feels like he could see more goals going in against his new club in the second half. Southampton 0, Arsenal 1.
So half-time on the final day of the Premier League. Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0, Fulham 0, Man City 1, Ipswich 0, West Ham 1, Liverpool 0, Palace 1, Man United 0, Villa 0, but Emi Martinez sent off for Villa, Newcastle 0, Everton 0, Forest 0, Chelsea 0, Southampton 0, Arsenal 1, Spurs 1, Brighton 0, Wolves 0, Brentford 1, and as things stand, those 3 remaining Champions League places will be taken by Man City, Newcastle and Chelsea. Earlier live on Talksport 2, Charlton got promoted via the League One playoff final to beat Orient 1-0. Congratulations to them. Second half's coming next on Talksport.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, we've got a van.
The McSpicy Frank's Red Hot is back. It's the McSpicy, but hotter. With 100% chicken breast fillet, melty cheese, fiery jalapenos, and the irresistible Frank's Red Hot mayo. Make it hot. Available until the 17th of June. Served from 11 a.m. Participating restaurants only. Subject to availability.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Summer fashion announcement. Stripes are in, darling. Oh, and also florals. Groundbreaking, we know. Pastels and block colors, too. Basically, you choose. From breathable floral duvet sets to modular wardrobes and stripy block-out blinds, IKEA has hundreds of new summer products to let summer in. Fabulous! Visit IKEA online or in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
And what a season this has been for Village Hotels. They've got the quadruple. Stylish rooms, state-of-the-art gym, heated indoor pool, and the legendary Village Pub and Grill with its unbeatable lineup of food and drink. No wonder the fans are going wild for this champion of affordable breaks. Absolute class. Village Hotels, 33 winning locations across the UK, with everything under one roof. Book now at villagehotels.com.
At Betfair, we relish the plot twists that football's tense run-in delivers. With titles, promotions and relegations on the line, the form book can take a back seat and the drama has the power to rewrite scripts. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Valid for 72 hours on Football Hackers or Bet Builders. Min combined odds of 1.5. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals. Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. So don't get stuck behind a sea of brake lights that grinds your day to a halt. Why waste your time when we can zip to you and you can stay on your job? Screwfix Sprint cuts through the congestion to get you what you need fast. More time working, less traffic frustration. Screwfix Sprint, delivering in as little as 20 minutes. Just $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Sky Sports. Watch the Premier League run-in before the countdown begins to a huge new season, where Sky Sports have at least 215 live games, up from 128. Subscription required.
Game day.
Feel the passion and the pride of the Premier League.
Goal-getting radio.
What a turn, what a goal!
Game day exclusive on Talksport.
Wednesday night will be in Poland for Chelsea's bid to win a European trophy this season, Europa Conference League final in Wrocław, and they will play Real Betis. It's live on Talksport on Wednesday night. League 2 final tomorrow, live on Talksport 2. Wimbledon take on Walsall. O'Hara and Cundy getting set for the phone-in, 6:30 tonight on Talksport. Before the players come out at Old Trafford, Stuart Pearce, where's this Man United been all season? They're brilliant.
Well, it's exactly the same words as someone just mentioned, connected with United, has just mentioned in the press room to me. Where has it been? It's been a super performance by them, with everything bar a cutting edge at the front end of the goal. They've had efforts, but not really clinical efforts, and none of those efforts have come from the centre forward. You know, to be fair to him, he did induce the penalty and the sending off. Martinez getting sent off, but they need a goal, Manchester United, to compensate all their good play.
Aston Villa, I know United have been good, but Villa have been poor, haven't they? Bearing in mind that they need to win, really.
Yeah, very much so. As I say, they've had maybe the odd 2 or 3 sort of semi-counter attacks, if you like, but apart from that, they've been very, very poor. Now they're down to 10 men. If results go against them elsewhere and they've got to chase the game in any way, shape or form, this will be interesting when they've only got 10.
I can tell you Trent Alexander-Arnold is on at Anfield. Liverpool won down at Palace, and he got a warm reception from the Liverpool fans. But what about this one? All the stats from the first half prove Man United were miles better than Aston Villa. They've even got more players, but it's goalless. There's only 45 minutes left this season. If you're going to do it now. Let's get back to our commentary on Talksport at Old Trafford. Man United 0, Aston Villa 0. Here's former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Sam Matface.
And we've got a substitution at half-time for Manchester United. Kobbie Mainoo is on, and Diego Dallo came on as a first-half substitute, is off, which is, again, fascinating. I think that means that Amad Diallo will go out to right wing-back. There's still a back three in front of Altay, of Lindelof, Maguire and Heaven. Dorgu is the left wing-back. Fernandes and Casemiro in the centre, with Kobbie Mainoo and Mason Mount behind Højlund now. It's the way it looks like it's shaping up, but maybe Fernandes might push further forward. We'll see. No changes for Aston Villa. The big change that they've already made, though, is the fact that they've had to change their goalkeeper, who's come on for Marco Asensio after a sending off for Emi Martinez in the first half, right at the end of the first half, which means they start the second half with 10 players. And Manchester United, who have won 40 Premier League games against Aston Villa, only Manchester United themselves have beaten an opponent more often. That was Everton 42 times. Villa's record against Manchester United is absolutely abysmal. In 64 visits to Old Trafford, Stuart, to face United in all competitions since 1954, they've won just 3 times.
Well, and I suggest with them going down to 10 men, the odds don't look in their favour either for this one.
Well, it's a big 45 minutes in the race to qualify for the Champions League, for Aston Villa, for Nottingham Forest, for Chelsea, for Manchester City and Newcastle United. And you are in the right place. This is Talksport. We're live at Old Trafford. It's the day to have your radio. My son is at a game today. He's at Old Trafford and he's got his pocket radio. It's the day for pocket radios today. No need for social media or phones. You just need Talksport, because we will keep you up to date with everything faster and first here on the radio this afternoon. Here is Aidan Heaven moving towards the edge of the area, gets to the box, tries to shoot, cannons off the defender Konsa, comes back out to Fernandes, who shoots towards the far side, and it goes spiralling into the Stretford end for the goal which Manchester United are shooting to away to our left in this second half. In red shirts, white shorts and black socks. It's all black for Aston Villa, with light blue piping attacking the scoreboard end away to our right hand side. Manchester City at the moment the only ones of those challenging for a top 5 place to be leading. It means that Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Newcastle and Chelsea are going into the
Champions League, Aston Villa into the Europa League, Nottingham Forest into the Conference League as it stands. Of course, that all may shuffle around should Chelsea win the Conference League on Wednesday night live from Wrocław. And Scott Minto, Adrian and I will be there in Poland to bring you commentary of that game. Tomorrow we've got the League 2 playoff final and what has been a brilliant week of playoff football. And the ball is with Manchester United on halfway. Lindelof picking the ball up and playing it forward out to this near touchline, and Aidan Heaven. Mount infield to Aidan Heaven again. Villa backing off and trying to block up the channels and stop the ball from going in towards Dorgo, away by Cash. And they can't really afford to be too tentative, Aston Villa. They can't go for it either because it's too early in the game for them to do that. And whilst it's 0-0, there's always a chance for them to attack it in the last 10 minutes. But they haven't really come out in the second half with any real intent so far. We've played nearly 3 minutes of it. It remains 0-0. It's not 0-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Alfie Reynolds.
It's 51 minutes played. It's Tottenham 1, Brighton 1, and it's that man again, Jack Hinchelwood, following his goal from the bench on Monday. He slotted home a scrappy equaliser here from a corner, smashing the ball into the roof of the net. Tottenham 1, Brighton 1.
Here's Bruno Fernandes into the box, right-footed across the face of goal, blocked by Pau Torres, and it spirals out for a corner over on the far side. Brighton equalising there is key for them because they need a point to finish in 8th, and if Chelsea slip up, finish 7th, the team that finish in 8th may qualify for the Conference League if Chelsea win the final on Wednesday live on Talksport. There has been a goal at Portman Road. We'll be there in just a second, but we've got a corner for Manchester United over on the far side. It's going to be taken by Mason Mount, right-footed, arcing it out towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed by Casemiro, and then Haaland is there in front of the goalkeeper, but as he celebrates in front of the Stretford end, the flag goes up on the far side and he is going to be denied.
Well, good opportunity there, the ball in, and it was just kept alive. This could be quite tight, actually.
Well, they're holding the play to check. The assistant on the far side is Akil Halson. He was very quick to put his flag up. We'll come back and find out what happens in just a second because it looks like it's been denied here, but there has been a goal at the City Ground for Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It's Forest 0, Chelsea 1. Levi Colwill tapping in at the far post, close range. Forest defence all over the shop, and Colwill with the tap in. It's being checked. Forest 0, Chelsea 1.
Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1. Levi Colwill for Chelsea getting the goal. How important a goal could that be? Levi Colwill getting only his second goal of the season, and Chelsea's centre-back puts them in front against Nottingham Forest. Remember, Chelsea have won just one of their last 10 Premier League away games, but they are in front at the City Ground. Here the ball is on the edge of the penalty area with Bruno Fernandes, who shoots towards the far corner, and Olsen goes springing across to his right. Doesn't quite get there, and it is behind and away for a goal kick. It was an effort from Bruno Fernandes from the edge of the penalty area, and the supporters all singing his name. He has been linked with a move away. There has been another goal down at Portman Road. Let's get there now. Mike Shaw.
It's an equaliser. Ipswich 1, West Ham 1. Nathan Broadhead collecting the ball midway inside the West Ham half. The defence parted. Broadhead ran through and speared a low shot to the right of Lucas Fabianski. Ipswich 1, West Ham 1.
And off to St Mary's for Talksport's Jake Robson.
Goodness me, lift off. Southampton 1, Arsenal 1. Ross Stewart with the header. Ball whipped in for a corner. He leapt highest and did the rest past David Raya. Southampton 1, Arsenal 1.
Ross Stewart, remember, he still plays for Southampton. Yeah, it was a forgotten one of the record signings, I think, at one stage. Here on the left-hand side, the ball is with Dorgu. Gets to the edge of the penalty area for Manchester United. Cash comes across, robs him of possession and clears away. 0-0, but the situation intensifying now for Aston Villa, who need a goal, because if they did score right now, they would go above Newcastle United in the Champions League placings. Here is Mount moving to the edge of the area, shuffles it on towards Fernandes. Back down the left it goes to Dorgu. Dorgu into Mount, round the corner for Dorgu. Dorgu with a chance to cross, blocked by Cash. Still Dorgu keeps it alive. Mount joins the attack inside the area, threatened to shoot, then didn't, then falls over under pressure from Kamara, and he brings it clear. It's going to be a free kick on the edge of the area to Aston Villa, and we can go back to Portman Road because it's been another goal for Talksport's Mike Schull.
It was all square for just 3 minutes. Jared Bowen has just fired in an excellent shot, left-footed from around 25 yards out after picking the ball up on the right-hand side. It's now Ipswich 1, West Ham 2.
Not in the England squad, but Jared Bowen has got his 14th goal of the season for West Ham United, who lead by 2-1 away at Ipswich Town. The table looks like this: Liverpool top, Arsenal second, Manchester City third, Chelsea up into fourth thanks to that goal from Levi Colwill. Newcastle dropped to fifth as a result of that. Aston Villa still in sixth, and Nottingham Forest in seventh. Conference League football as it stands for them, although that could still change. Brighton look like they're securing 8th position with a point away at Tottenham Hotspur. Crystal Palace jumping into the top 10 with victory away at the champions as it stands at the moment. And Tottenham are going to be 17th. Manchester United up into 16th the way it stands at this moment in time. Here is Amad Diallo, back to Fernandes, clips the ball to Mason Mount, far edge of the 6-yard box. He's hit it against the standing foot and he's fallen over and gone behind into the advertising hoardings, and Aston Villa are able to clear Stuart Pearce, but they're coming forward again. Manchester United down the left with Dorgu into the area, back to Casemiro bending it, and he just misses the outside of the post.
Really good. They absolutely swamped Villa. Villa turned the ball over. United players swamped the ball, got it back, fell to Casemiro in the edge of the box and just clipped the outside of the post as it went wide.
Well, what a day we're having on Talksport. Certainly the second half's getting into full swing. Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0. Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. Ipswich 1, West Ham 2. Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1. Manchester United 0, Aston Villa down to 10 players 0. Newcastle 0, Everton 0. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1. Southampton 1, Arsenal 1. Tottenham 1, Brighton 1. They're the latest scores as we have them at this stage. It means that the Champions League contenders, teams that are going to be in the Champions League next season, remain the same as they was this morning, but Chelsea have jumped up above Newcastle into 4th position. Here is Victor Lindelof out to the far touchline, collected by Kobbie Mainoo. It's been all Manchester United again in this second half, and Aston Villa just haven't turned up. And Emi Martinez sent off right at the end of the first half, but they've had a terrible game. Here is Dorgu down the left-hand side looking for Mount. And obviously there's a part that both are playing in this, Stuart. Manchester United have been better than I've seen them all season. It's something, there was almost a sort of air of disbelief as I walked through the press room and talking to the Manchester United press back, and we were all sort of laughing, saying, what's going on here then? And actually someone from Manchester United said to me, this is why the manager is so frustrated, because he can see that there is something there and there is stuff to work with, but they're just not consistently performing enough. And from Aston Villa's point of view, they're just completely off it.
Yeah, they're a mile off it today. Things are not going particularly well for Villa, but from United's point of view, the football's been really good, and you can bet your bottom dollar from sort of Monday to Friday on the training pitch, they're outstanding possession work and all of that.
Here's Højlund running in behind, getting the better of Konza. Low ball through the 6-yard box. There's no one there to finish it off. Mainoo was arriving, but too late. And Martson brings it out from the left edge of the area and takes it up towards the halfway line. Oh, it's robbed by Mainoo in front of the goalkeeper, who comes out, makes a challenge. And I tell you what, as the ball is cleared away from the left edge of the 6-yard box, Mainoo went down. I wonder whether or not they'll look at that. Olsen came out, got involved with Kobbie Mainoo, and the referee didn't give anything. What was your initial reaction?
Well, my initial reaction was Højlund's miscontrolled a tapping, to be honest with you, to score a goal.
Here's Casemiro shooting from inside the inside left channel, straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. You're absolutely right. The ball's come to him with his back to goal. It would have taken something for him to turn and fire that goalwards, but he just doesn't have the instinct to do that.
No, as I say, he's played the ball across the front of goal and had his arms up and gesturing to his teammate, why weren't you there? And from the resulting ball being pulled back, it was his miscontrol.
Here's Rodgers down the right side, getting to the byline, producing a cross. It's blocked by Dorgu. Goes out for a corner here. The Aston Villa fans, for the first time in this second half, just raise the noise a little bit, hoping that they can push their team towards getting in front in this game. 16 Premier League goals from set pieces this season. Only Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest have scored more. But they've got a set piece opportunity here to be taken by John McGinn in front of the scoreboard end. And he steps up to the ball, left-footed, in towards the middle of the 6-yard box. It's headed away by Heaven, who then travels and kicks the ball over the halfway line. The Manchester United players chase after it. It was a bit of an up and under, and it's a real mistake. Martin's headed the ball to Hyland, who's running through the centre of the goal. He gets towards the edge of the area and shoots straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
what a chance.
It was, and once again it was a defensive ball by Maatsen, I think it was there. He's headed it, he's left it short. Hoyland was the quickest to get onto it. He was fronted up by Cash, and his effort low. But Olsen dealt with it pretty well.
Well, in the intense furnace, the searing heat of the race of the Champions League, Aston Villa are melting. They cannot get into their rhythm. They cannot find their gears. They've given away silly opportunities to Manchester United. The only thing, Stuart, that they can possibly claw onto at this moment is that, guess what? Manchester United haven't taken advantage of it. It's still 0-0. It shouldn't be.
It certainly shouldn't. I mean, when you look at Maatsen's header back to the goalie, he's in the centre circle, and he's stooped to head it back to the goalkeeper, who's in his box. How's it going to get there?
That's a crazy decision, and it has been a little bit like that. Aston Villa lost their heads at times today. Olsen gets the ball back from Cash under pressure. He scoops it into the air. Let's go off to the City ground. Talksport's Jeff Peters.
Chelsea leading Forest by 1-0, scored by Levi Colwill, the man who, when he was on loan at Huddersfield in the Championship playoff final 3 years ago, scored an own goal that helped Forest into the Premier League. Callum Hudson-Odoi has come on for Forest. They've only won 1 of 11 league games this season when conceding first. Forest 0, Chelsea 1.
Remember that playoff final? It was one of the worst ever, wasn't it? Not as bad as, I think Huddersfield Reading was probably the worst, wasn't it? Here on the left edge of the area is Aidan Heaven. Back infield it goes, where it's collected by Maguire. Forest did look destined for the top 5 not so long ago, but the pressure has started to have an effect on Nuno Espirito Santo's team. It's one-way traffic down at Craven Cottage. Alex Crook was telling me at the end of that first half. Manchester City looked destined for a Champions League spot. Chelsea at the moment leading away at Nottingham Forest. Aston Villa struggling here against Manchester United. Ball deep towards the far post, towards Hoyland. Drops inside the box. Casemiro over the bar. Well, how many chances are they going to spurn Manchester United? And how many let-offs are Aston Villa going to get? Because it's a cascade of opportunities for the beaten Europa League finalists.
I don't know whether Maatsen's on a goal bonus or not, but he's won the header at the far post and headed it brilliantly down to the opposition player. Casemiro's smashed it over the bar. Wow, you've got to do better than that. He'll be disappointed with that one.
Well, Manchester United have had too many opportunities to count, really. They've had 13 shots, 7 on target, 2 big chances according to the statistics, but it's felt like more than that. They're going to make a change. Jacob Ramsey and Tielemans coming on for Aston Villa, who needs some injection of pace and power and intelligence in the middle of the park, and certainly craft will come from Yuri Tielemans. There has been a goal down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Here's Talksport's Alfie Reynolds.
And they've turned it around. Tottenham 1, Brighton 2. Hinchelwood has his second. It comes from the corner again. It falls to him in the 6-yard box, and he just backheels it into the goal. It's Tottenham 1, Brighton 2.
Cash into the area, driving the ball through the 18-yard box. It's behind McGinn and just in front of Watkins. Brighton leading by 2-1. That means they'll secure 8th position in the league. It could be vital. It means they might, if Chelsea slip up, get into European football, but that doesn't look likely at the moment. Here's Onana moving to the edge of the area. Space for McGinn. He shoots. Did it take a nick? No, it didn't. And that might be his last act of the season, because he's about to be replaced by Jacob Ramsey. Tielemans coming on for Onana as well. 2 substitutions for Aston Villa, Stuart Pearce, as they look to try and turn the tide.
Yeah, as I say, McGinn's, all his work's been done chasing back and doubling up, and that's all he's done. He's put a shift in for his team, but he's done nothing going forward and hasn't been able to be fair to him. Tielemans are off for a bit more craft in the midfield. You know, Nana's been, well, average probably, best describe him.
Well, those substitutions now been made. Aidan Heaven's getting treatment on the edge of the area away to our right-hand side, which has just precipitated a pause in play. Let's go off to the game at St James's Park and find out how Newcastle are getting on. Because if Aston Villa score right now, Newcastle drop out of the top 5. Mickey Gray.
62 on the clock, Simon. Still Newcastle 0, Everton 0, and it is tense. They've heard those murmurs of that goal at Chelsea, and they're trying to get the players going. They changed the system at half-time. They've gone to a 4-4-2, and Kieran Trippier is just about to come onto the field. But they did take Anthony Gordon off to bring on Joe Willock to play in that midfield area. But they're just not doing enough, Newcastle. It's a hope and a prayer at the moment. They're hanging on, still in those Champions League positions. Newcastle 0, Everton 0.
Fulham have an impressive home record this season against sides currently in the top 9. They've won 5 of their 8 games against them, but they're not winning today over on Talk Radio, Alex Crook.
Yeah, Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. İlkay Gundogan with a goal in the first half, but City are struggling to get the second here. Manuel Akanji is headed over from a corner. Erling Haaland, very disappointing, nodded right across the face of goal. Fulham have had some promising moments. Their final ball letting them down at the moment, but still time. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1.
Johnny Evans might be coming on for his final appearance. He is coming on to replace Aidan Heaven. Christian Eriksen, who is another one who is going to be out of contract. I don't think he's going to go on the post-season tour either, you know, and he is about to come on for what will be his last Old Trafford appearance, because he is out of contract at the end of this season. Cash under pressure from Mason Mount, sends it forward. Maguire's header is picked up by Ramsey. A chance to break for Aston Villa. He drives forward, Ramsey, into Rodgers. Rodgers edge of the area, tries to funnel it back to Ramsey. Bruno Fernandes is there. He's given it to Watkins. Down the left to Ramsey inside the box. Tries to get a shot away, but he's just sent wide by Lindelof. And Manchester United, who were down to 10 players as well for a moment, get Aidan Heaven back on the pitch now to try and thwart this Aston Villa attack, which was instigated actually by Bruno Fernandes giving the ball away. Ball kicked up in the air by Diallo. Amad Diallo volleys it clear, but Aston Villa win it back again. Maybe a bit of encouragement for them as we go into the final 25 minutes. Stuart Pearce.
Well, just to get a touch of the ball in the opposition's half for Villa's a big plus, and they're attempting to sustain this attack now.
Lovely little step over by Rodgers. It's away by the Manchester United midfielder. There's been a goal at St James's Park. Talksport's Mickey Gray.
Well, get your tin hats on. Newcastle 0, Everton 1, and Ziliman Ndiaye. Good play from Everton down the left-hand side. It's a float across in towards the centre of the 6-yard area, and Ndiaye just unmarked rises above everybody, nods it down into the bottom corner. You can hear the Newcastle supporters now. The frustration's there for everybody to see, but Everton fully deserve it. Newcastle 0, Everton 1.
Ollie Watkins just went darting in behind and looking as if he was going to challenge Altay Bayındır, but the offside flag was up against him, and that happened at the same time as those Aston Villa fans are starting to find out that Newcastle United are dropping points away from home, and they know that that puts them into the Champions League places, because if they get a point here and Newcastle lose, then it's Aston Villa that go into the Champions League.
Well, listen, with this performance today, they probably don't, but Everton are a tough nut to crack at this moment in time, as they've proved. They won't take a backward step with Moisey at the helm, and well, there's exciting times up the road, but there's also exciting times here.
Everton lead Newcastle United. Iliman Ndiaye with the goal. He's 12th of the season. It could be Aston Villa's biggest goal of the campaign. They are celebrating away in the corner, away to our right-hand side. They're dressed as bananas, some of them. They've got inflatable bananas and beach balls tossed into the air. There's 4 or 5 of them that are dressed as Where's Wally? Well, right now, the destination is the Champions League, but here's Højlund inside the area, grasping at the ball, but can't get hold of it to make a significant impact, and out comes Robin Olsen, and he will clear away. Goals change everything, and right now the top of the table looks like this. Liverpool champions, Arsenal second, Manchester City third, Chelsea fourth, Aston Villa in fifth. Newcastle drop out into the Europa League places. Nottingham Forest currently in seventh as it stands. Brighton cementing eighth. Down at the bottom of the table, Tottenham finishing 17th, Manchester United 16th, then Wolves just above them and West Ham in 14th position. That's how it looks right now, but the picture changes and unfolds, twists and turns throughout the course of the afternoon, and we've got 23 minutes left. There's a red card at Anfield. Matt Jones.
Yeah, Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1 here, and Liverpool down to 10 men. Gravenberch tries to bring down a long ball on the halfway line. It's a heavy touch that gives the chance for Kamada to nip in and take it. As he does so, Gravenberch slips, brings him down. Kamada would have been through on goal, so it is a straight red. Liverpool 0, Crystal Palace 1.
Here is Casemiro for Manchester United. 0-0 the score here. That's enough for Aston Villa as it stands. But here is Bruno Fernandes with an effort just wide of the left-hand post. From the edge of the area, he turned very quickly, drove the ball across the floor. It was wide of the left-hand upright, but it was only an inch wide of the left-hand upright. And it's another let-off for flaky Aston Villa.
Well, another effort there by Manchester United. They're racking the efforts up as we go, but you get the impression that it's going to take a scruffy goal, don't you? There's not any clinical finishing or real cutting edge to United's play to back up all this good sort of build-up play.
It's fascinating, Stuart, isn't it? I said to you at the beginning of the day, we got must be half an hour in, it was 0-0, but Manchester United had some great chances up until that point. I said, I wonder if actually it's going to be Aston Villa's day, almost by default. They may well get into the Champions League, drawing 0-0 away at Manchester United with 10 players and playing poorly just because Newcastle have not been able to get over the line at home.
Well, this is the incredible thing. If you'd have said to Villa at the start of the day, you're going to go down to 10 men, you're not going to score at Old Trafford, would you take that at the moment and see where you finish? Absolutely no chance. As it goes, they've moved up a place.
Unai Emery is going crackers on this near touchline because he wants his team to get back after they've given the ball away inside the Manchester United half. It's allowed Bruno Fernandes to funnel forward. He gives it to Dorgu, a low ball into the near post, which is clipped away. It's headed back across the face of goal by Fernandes. Casemiro sends it back to Bruno Fernandes. He's on the left side of the box into Eriksen. Eriksen trying to open them up, but sets it up for Bruno Fernandes, who's shot, dribbles along the floor and goes wide, this time of the right hand upright, and out for a goal kick away to our left hand side. What a fascinating final day. Certainly took a while to get into gear. First half was almost goalless. There was hardly any action for us to bring you, but we've already had a comeback, and we've had more comebacks than ever before in the Premier League this season in this second half, with Brighton coming back from 1 goal down to lead 2-1 away at Tottenham. It's also Bournemouth 0, Leicester 0, Fulham 0, Manchester City 1, Ipswich 1, West Ham 2, Liverpool down to 10 players 0, Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 0-0 with Aston Villa, who have been reduced to 10 men, Newcastle 0, Everton 1, Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1. Here are Manchester United on the attack with Amad Diallo running up and racing up to the edge of the area, but he's thwarted by Tielemans. It comes back out to Lindelof. Eriksen then from deep clips the ball into the box, but it's headed away by Cash. Casemiro picks it up, tries to find Bruno Fernandes, can't do so Cash wraps it up the field to Watkins, and Watkins hasn't really got much support, so has to hold on to it, checks back, Kamara comes across, halfway line is Rodgers, and they've built this really well because there's a chance to send through Jacob Ramsey, but he didn't get the ball right. He needed to curl that in behind, didn't quite get it, and it goes all the way through to Altay away to our right hand side. I mentioned the other scoreline: Southampton 1, Arsenal 1, Tottenham 1, Brighton 2, and a goal at Molineux for Talksport's Ian Stringer.
75 minutes gone, it's Wolves 1, Brentford 1. What a ripper this is. Long ball downfield from the goal kick, substitute Strand Larsen flicks it on, and it's a ripper, right footed, Munetzi into the top corner for only his second of the campaign. Wolves 1, Brentford 1.
Let's go down to the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth for a goal for Lawrence Mora.
Bournemouth 1, Leicester 0. Anton Semenyo tapping home Zabani's cross the goal header. It's a really scruffy little finish, but here in front it's Bournemouth 1, Leicester 0.
And let's go off to Craven Cottage. There's a penalty for Talksport's Alex Crook.
And a chance to seal Champions League football for Manchester City. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 1. Really clumsy challenge from Sasa Lukic, bringing down the opening goal scorer for City, Ilkay Gundogan, after he'd pirouetted away just inside the area. Of course, they missed a penalty, City, in the FA Cup final. Omar Marmoush has handed over the responsibility to Erling Haaland, who's been absolutely useless today by his high standards, but he's placed the ball down. Haaland, he's going to take a long run up from the edge of the area. It's a left-footed shot into the bottom right corner. Haaland scores, and City will finish third in the Premier League. It's Fulham 0, Manchester City 2.
Goal number 31 for Erling Haaland, who missed his last penalty down at Bournemouth in the FA Cup quarter-final. In fact, he's missed 3 of the last 7 before today, but he's on the spot at the right time for Manchester City, so they secure Champions League football. And from a situation at the beginning of the day where there were 5 teams fighting for 3 places, it looks very much now that there is just 2 places to play for. And Chelsea and maybe Aston Villa are going to claim it, and here's Rodgers dispossessing the goalkeeper, and he has managed to take it off of Altay, and he's put it into the back of the net, but the referee's blown his whistle and he's denied him. Well, the ball was dropped by Altay Biandir. Rodgers did absolutely nothing wrong. He's turned and put the ball in the back of the net. The referee has denied the goal, but VAR surely will overrule him.
He's got to overrule him. He thinks that he's kicked the ball out of the goalkeeper's hands. I didn't see it that way. The goal is slid across. He's not had the ball in his hands in any way, shape or form. For me, that's a good goal. And if they chalk it off, they'll be hiding behind some sort of statement of some description. The goalie has not got the ball in his hands.
He has the ball. He's touching the ball with one hand and then the other, but he's not in control of it. So VAR have to determine whether or not this goal has been disallowed for the right purposes. Aston Villa know that this could be a huge moment because Morgan Rodgers won the ball over on the left-hand side. He turned the ball into the penalty box and past the goalkeeper and into the net. The referee has disallowed the goal. No one inside the dugout down in front of us can understand why. The fourth official, Robert Madley, has just explained it to Unai Emery. They're going to disallow the goal here. This could be crucial in the race for the Champions League, and no one can understand quite why it's been disallowed. The laws of the game say that if the goalkeeper has his hand on the ball and he's in control of it, then you can't kick it out of his hands. Was that the case, Stuart Pearce?
No chance. I have seen that on 2 or 3 occasions now, and for me, why that's been chalked off, I do not know.
That is the most controversial moment of Premier League final Sunday. Emi Martinez sent off in the first half. Aston Villa having a goal chalked off by the referee Thomas Bramall, and Austin McPhee, who has been berating the fourth official, has been given a yellow card by Thomas Bramall. I mean, I can understand the frustration with the stakes so high, Stuart.
So, in all honesty, Sam, there's situations like that where if I was at Stockley Park, I would say to the referee, my recommendation is this or this, but go and have another look for yourself on the monitor. That's what I would be saying to the referee with this situation. I really would.
I mean, in that circumstance, there was enough doubt, I think, to have called him over to have a look at it.
Without a doubt.
03717 223344. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy will be analysing that incident and taking your call straight after we finish at 6:30 tonight. That could be a huge moment in the race for a Champions League place. At the moment, Aston Villa are getting in, but just a goal at Newcastle and things will change. Here is Kobbie Mainoo shipping the ball towards the far edge of the 18-yard box. Maybe a goal here for Manchester United and things will change. Fernandes into the area. Ahmad coming in at the far post. There is the goal for Manchester United. And Aston Villa's hopes of Champions League football start to melt again. Across into the box at the far edge of the area, of course, by Bruno Fernandes, and on the edge of the 6-yard box, the smallest player in the pitch, Amad Diallo, heads home past Robin Olsen, the replacement goalkeeper, and Manchester United, who have dominated this game, had several chances, look as if they're breaking Aston Villa hearts. Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0.
Well, it's United's best player on the pitch created that. Bruno Fernandes with a brilliant whip ball on the diagonal, and a great run as well by Diallo. He set off from out to in, but the big talking point was the chalked off goal, and lo and behold, the opposition go up the other end of the pitch and hit the back of your net.
This is why you got to have your radio on Talksport on Premier League final Sunday, because Aston Villa thought they were going into the Champions League before the goal was disallowed by Thomas Bramall, because he felt that Morgan Rogers had dispossessed Altay illegally. VAR did not overturn it. Unai Emery went crackers. Villa lost concentration. Manchester United scored. It's 1-0. So from being inside the Champions League places, Aston Villa have now dropped out. Newcastle have gone back in, and Mickey Gray was there to witness the celebrations.
Well, Sam, absolutely a huge cheer. It's just gone round this St James's Park Stadium. They've just heard about that goal. They now jump back into those Champions League positions, and it's the only help they're going to get today, because they've been poor in front of goal. Newcastle, they are hanging on. Still Newcastle 0, Everton 1.
They are in the top 5 on goal difference from Aston Villa, who trail here by a goal to nil. Newcastle, Villa and Forest all losing by a goal to nil on the final day of the Premier League. Casemiro sends the ball out wide towards the goal scorer Amad Diallo. At the moment, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea and Newcastle are going to the Champions League next season. Ball in towards the penalty area from Christian Eriksen. It's aimed towards Rasmus Højlund. It's cleared away. Fernandes picking it up. Højlund back to Fernandes. Only half clear, but was there a collision inside the box? Well, it's gone behind and away for a goal kick, but Fernandes has gone down, claiming that he was impeded there. The referee has waved away any protest. Unai Emery is going to be furious. Champions League, you're having a laugh, says the Manchester United supporters as they point at the Villa fans. The Villa fans crestfallen after thinking that their moment had come, only for it to be dashed by the referee's whistle, Stuart Pearce.
It's amazing. As I say, in all honesty, I think that's a really tough call on Villa, chalking that goal off. An insult to injury, Sam. United go up the other end of the pitch and hit the back of the Villa net.
Well, Unai Emery's still having a word with the assistant on the near side. He can't believe it. They need a goal, and they need one quickly. If they were to score now, they would go back into those top 5 places, and they've got 10 minutes to try and get one. Newcastle struggling at St James's Park. Aston Villa floundering at Old Trafford. Well, that doesn't happen very often. Here is Rodgers moving towards the middle of the park. Well, not to opposition players anyway. Usually this has been fertile ground for opponents this season, but not today. Free kick given against Rodgers, who's fouled Fernandes on the edge, or 10 yards back from the edge of the box. A yellow card for Morgan Rodgers, and Aston Villa starting to lose their heads. And they can't afford to do that, Stuart, with 10 minutes to go and only one goal needed.
Well, exactly. They're still on the verge of a Champions League place here, and it just might be a cool head that gets them over the line.
Chido Obi-Martin comes on to replace Rasmus Højlund, whose season comes to an end for Manchester United. He thought he'd scored earlier on, but that goal was disallowed. An incredible weekend of football on Talksport. Remember the twists and turns we had in the playoff final yesterday, so don't count your chickens just yet. There has been a goal at Anfield. Matt Jones.
And the champions are Liverpool level. Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 1. The ball falls to Salah in the area, and he smashes it home to equal the Premier League record for goal involvements in one season. Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 1.
Yeah, he's going to win the Golden Boot. 29 this season, 18 assists as well, so he's going to win the top playmaker award. Is Mo Salah. Here's Eriksson from the free kick. He hits the top of the crossbar, bending it over the wall and landing it almost on the roof of the net. It was a terrific effort.
Yeah, it certainly was. Dead centre of goal, probably about 28 metres out. And just as it was dipping, goalie beaten, just clipped the top of the bar.
Now, could it be that the ex-Sunderland winger Amad Diallo helps Newcastle into the Champions League? Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0. Amad Diallo's goal separates these two teams. 82 minutes on the clock. But as it stands at the moment, just one goal for Aston Villa would change everything. They're still smarting about the goal they think they scored that should have been given, that wasn't. And Unai Emery will be absolutely incandescent at the end of the game. Donyell Marlon coming on to try and bolster their attack. Ross Barkley about to arrive too. Manchester United have the ball. That's been the way of things all game. Casemiro just right of the centre circle. Up to Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo lays it off to Casemiro. Switched out towards the left-hand side and Dorgu. Dorgu into Bruno Fernandes. Fernandes now to Mainoo once again. It's collected by Johnny Evans has intervened before Rodgers, who fell over as he took the ball away. And now Fernandes bends it round the corner into Kobbie Mainoo again. He gets to the byline, walks over to the corner flag, then looks up, tries to get the ball into the central area. Bruno Fernandes to Eriksson. Eriksson getting it onto his left foot, shooting towards the far corner. It wasn't too far away. Manchester United 1, Aston Villa 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea and Liverpool Palace live right now. Search Now Sports. Liverpool going to win the league 1-1 at the moment with Palace. Arsenal in second place. Manchester City in third. They're 2-0 up away at Fulham. Chelsea up into fourth. They're 1-0 up away at Nottingham Forest. Newcastle in fifth. They're 1-0 down, but they're not worried because Aston Villa are 2 here at Old Trafford. But a goal can change that. If Aston Villa were to score, they would jump above Newcastle United into the top 4. That's why they're taking off Rodgers, bringing on Donyell Marlon and bringing on Ross Barkley as well for Boubacar Kamara. What's happening at the City Ground? Talksport's Jeff Peters.
Chelsea still leading by a goal to nil, scored by Colwill. They're heading towards the Champions League. Hudson-Odoi, Yates and Jota Silva all coming on by the home side. They need to score. It looks like 7th place for them. Forest 0, Chelsea 1.
Quick goal at Portman Road. Mike Schull.
The points wrapped up by West Ham. Ipswich 1, West Ham 3. Substitute Mohamed Kudus with a curling shot from the edge of the area. Ipswich 1, West Ham 3.
Back here, Aston Villa have rolled their dice. Can they take their chance with 6 minutes to go? Barkley onto Marlon. It's a bit behind Watkins. Watkins goes down, wants a free kick. Not going to get one. The Aston Villa fans are furious. They're going to be furious after this. It goes infield towards Ross Barkley, but cut out by Casemiro. Evans across to Dorgu. It's a goal at St Mary's. Let's go there now. Jake Robson.
90 minutes played. Southampton 1, Arsenal 2. Martin Odegaard off the bench with a solo effort to rifle one in from 20 yards out. Just a third of the season for the Arsenal captain. Southampton 1, Arsenal 2.
What a dismal season Southampton have had. The first team ever in the history of the Premier League to be relegated with 7 games to spare. They're going to lose again today on the day that they announced Will Still as their new manager. The ball is played cross-field out towards the far side. Ahmad is brought down by Matson. Referee says no free kick. So instead, oh dear, he's given a penalty, has he? The referee. He's given a penalty. Thomas Bramall was given a penalty after consultation with the assistant over on the far side. He's pointed to the spot. I thought that happened just outside the penalty area. Ian Martson made the challenge on Amad Diallo. And Aston Villa might find themselves 2-0 down. Quickly, goal down at Tottenham Hotspur's Stadium. Here's Talksport's Alfie Reynolds.
Tottenham 1, Brighton 3. Matt O'Reilly has scored a penalty to put the result to bed. It was Basuma that brought down Gomez. O'Reilly finished into the corner. It's Tottenham 1, Brighton 3.
It is just inside the penalty area. It's a clumsy challenge from Ian Martson, who didn't get his timing right at all. The referee didn't give it initially. He took an age, actually, Stuart Pearce, and then after consultation with his assistant, he's pointed to the spot.
Yeah, as I say, I think Matson's tried to put the brakes on. He got there as quick as he could, tried to put the brakes on slightly. but Diallo slowed down just in front of him, and he sort of trod on the back of his Achilles. And I think the referee and the linesman have got that one right.
Goal at the Vitality Stadium. Be there in just a second, but this is a huge moment in the context of the Champions League qualification race. Newcastle United only in the top 5 on goal difference. But if Aston Villa were to score and equalise now in the final few minutes, they would jump up above them. That's going to be almost impossible if Christian Eriksen, who has been handed the ball, puts this penalty beyond Robin Olsen, the substitute goalkeeper who replaced the sent-off Emi Martinez in the first half. This is decisive. Christian Eriksen to stop Aston Villa from getting into the Champions League and give Newcastle huge hope. He eyeballs Robin Olsen in the Manchester rain. He steps up, right-footed, slams it down the middle of the goal. Manchester United lead by 2-0. They don't cause anyone grief this season, but they're going to cause Aston Villa pain. The Aston Villa fans start to walk down the exit. They can't look now because they know that their Champions League hopes have fallen apart at Old Trafford. Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0. And what's the reaction at St James's Park, Mickey Gray?
An absolutely huge cheer around St James's Park. They just heard about that second goal at Manchester United. They are so relieved in this stadium. Not being a great performance from Newcastle. Listen to this place now. My goodness, you'd think they were winning 3-0. They're getting beat. Newcastle 0, Everton 1.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea and Newcastle going to the Champions League next season. So are Tottenham Hotspur. They're losing, but they don't care. There's been a goal at the Vitality Stadium. Talksport's Lawrence Mora.
Bournemouth 2, Leicester 0. Anton Semenyo at the double, driving this home from 20 yards. A cracking finish while the Leicester fans are chanting, sack the board. Bournemouth 2, Leicester 0.
Back here it's 2-0 to Manchester United, who are going to break all sorts of records for being terrible over the course of the season, but they've been at their very best today, and Aston Villa haven't been able to live with them. Here's Dorgu into the penalty area, gets the wrong side of Cash, and it goes out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. What's the situation at the City ground? Because Chelsea were leading the last time we were there, that means conference football for Nottingham Forest as it stands, and Chelsea in the Champions League. Jeff Peters.
Yeah, Forest 0, Chelsea 1. And Enzo Maresca has sent on Lavia, Gusto, and now Kiernan Dewsbury Hall just to try and shore things up. Maybe they'll get a second goal just to put a seal on things, but they're leading Forest with a couple of minutes to go by 1-0.
So as it stands at this moment in time, the teams that were getting into the Champions League when you woke up this morning are the ones that will be competing in it next season. Bournemouth 2, Leicester 0, Fulham 0, Manchester City 2, Erling Haaland from the penalty spot with his 31st goal of the season. Ipswich 1, West Ham 3, Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 1. Mo Salah's going to win the Golden Boot and the Playmaker Award. Here on the right hand side, the ball has been picked up by Cash into the penalty area. It's Donyell Marlon towards the far post, punched away by Altai, comes back to Barkley, who spoons the ball over the top. The volley hit him on the shin really, and he sent it skying towards the scoreboard end away to our right hand side. Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 2, Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0, Everton 1, but Newcastle are going to make it into the Champions League as things stand. Nottingham Forest 0, Chelsea 1. They're getting to the Champions League as well. Enzo Maresca's team for the first time since 22-23. They hardly win away from home, but they're going to win away from home today. Southampton 1, Arsenal 2, Ødegaard with the winner there. Tottenham are losing at home to Brighton, and by a big margin. Alfie Reynolds.
Yeah, Tottenham 1, Brighton 4. Diego Gomez has just scored an absolute peach outside the box, right-footed, bending it into the top corner. Dominant second half from Brighton. They've turned it around. It's Tottenham 1, Brighton 4.
Far be it for me to predict the future, but there are 8 minutes left here, and if Aston Villa have got anything in their tank, they've got to throw everything at Manchester United for the 8 minutes that are added on at the end of the game. At Newcastle, who are losing 1-0 by the way, They are into the first minute there. I don't know how many minutes are added on. Let's ask Mickey Graves at St James's Park.
Well, there's 6 minutes added on here, Sam, as well, and I think all the Geordies were a little bit frustrated. They want to hear that full-time whistle. They're cheering their players on to the full-time whistle. They've got to corner themselves now. I'm sure they don't want to lose the last day of the season, but the most important thing is they're in those Champions League positions, and that's where they want to be come full-time whistle. Newcastle 0, Everton 1.
Tielemans into the penalty area, trying to get a shot away. It's repelled first time, but Cash is there with a rasper, which is handled by the goalkeeper, saved by Altai from Ollie Watkins. He punches it away. Well, if Nottingham Forest were able to get a goal at the City Ground, they could jump up above Aston Villa. But there's a lot of time to be added on there, Jeff Peters.
Yes, 8 minutes to be added on. We've had 90 seconds of that. Forest are trailing Chelsea by a 0-0. Forest have just got to go for it. They've got to throw everything forward, but Chelsea are leading Forest here 1-0.
If they were to score now, Aston Villa would drop into a Conference League place. How damaging would that be? Especially after they came into today thinking that there was every chance that they could get into the Champions League places. Away to our right-hand side, those bananas have been deflated and the banana costumes have come off. They're absolutely furious because they believe that they had a legitimate goal disallowed. That's going to be a talking point. Here is Dorgu coming forward for Manchester United, who lead by 2-0 into stoppage time, of which there are 8 minutes. It's Casemiro's delivery into the box towards the far post, headed away by Pau Torres, and now Marlon, who needs to race away. He skips past Johnny Evans and bounds towards the halfway line. He's got Watkins to his left-hand side. He's overhit the ball. Oh dear. Well, when there was a need for composure, a need for accuracy and precision, Donyell Marlon has just played a hit and hope ball, and he's completely missed Ollie Watkins, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, he has. As I say, burst into the inside right berth, and you would have thought just keep travelling. He didn't do that, tried to find two of his teammates and got it horribly wrong.
Manchester United leading by 2-0. Aston Villa's hopes of getting into the Champions League are going up in flames. You're listening to Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you. Here's Amad Diallo back towards the edge of the area. On to Casemiro. Fernandes tries to touch it round the corner to Eriksen, who scored a goal in his final appearance at Old Trafford. It could be the goal that completely extinguishes the hopes of all Aston Villa supporters. Now, we've had confirmation from the Premier League Match Centre about that disallowed goal on 72 minutes when Altay Biandir was dispossessed by Morgan Rogers. The referee's call was a free kick to Manchester United, with Altay deemed to be in control of the ball before Rogers gained possession of the ball. The whistle was blown by the referee before the ball entered the goal. Therefore, the incident was not reviewable by the VAR. Here is Cash inside the penalty area. It's half clear. There's been a massive chance for Forest at the City Ground. Jeff Peters.
They're still trailing 1-0, but Chris Wood, what an opportunity. Sells the goalkeeper over the halfway line, launched it into the box. One touch from Wood, and then he's just put it off target once again. So close. Forest 0, Chelsea 1.
Oh, Stuart Pearce, that means that the VAR couldn't intervene because the referee blew his whistle too early.
Well, you see these.
Here's Amad Diallo, played in by Fernandes, across the face of goal, touched away by Pau Torres. Offside flag is up. So just to clarify, the reason that the VAR couldn't intervene is because Thomas Bramall blew his whistle straight away.
Wow, that is incredible, really. I wonder if the referee thinks, having rewatched it whenever he does rewatch it, that he got that one wrong.
By making that decision, that split decision, he could have changed the course of who makes the Champions League and who doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, whether or not you think it's the right call or not, maybe he should have just let it run so the VAR could have had a look at it. 03717 2233 44. Is that re-refereeing games? Are we in favour of that?
Well,
it's certainly something to be talked about with Jamie and Jason.
Let's just say, the VAR situation, that was a situation where VAR would have been helpful, potentially.
Here is Amad Diallo in the 96th minute of the game at Old Trafford. On to Dorgu. Dorgu approaching the edge of the box. Goes on the outside. Low ball flashed through the 6-yard box, and Martson turns it round the post to stop it from reaching those coming in at the far edge. Let's get the closing 30 seconds at St James's Park. They're about to erupt in delight there. Here's Talksport's Mickey Gray.
Yeah, I took the words out of my mouth there, Sam. It is just going to absolutely erupt. These Geordie supporters are waiting for that full-time whistle, which is just seconds away. They heard that news from Old Trafford. They're in that 5th position, the Champions League position. What a season this could be for Newcastle. Carabao Cup winners back playing Champions League football next season. We are literally seconds away. It hasn't been a great performance. They've hung on at times in this game. Calvert-Lewin, it just missed a 1v1 to make it 2-0, but everybody in this ground are just waiting for the referee, Tony Harrington, to blow his whistle. And there it is! The full-time whistle goes, a huge cheer at St James's Park. They've lost the game. Newcastle 0, Everton 1. Newcastle Champions League football next season. The goal came from Carlos Alcaraz in the second half. What a fantastic season this has been for Newcastle. Champions League football, Carabao Cup. Newcastle 0, Everton 1.
Unless Aston Villa can score twice in the next 90 seconds. But it's Manchester United are on the attack. Fernandes into the penalty area, headed forward by Chido Obi-Martin, and now Manchester United got to get back because Olsen has got to get it forward, but he's not rushing to do so away to our left-hand side. Urgency is not part of the order from Unai Emery. It looks like they've given up the ghost. Away to our right, the away end has started to empty even more than it did after that second goal. They know that the game is up. It's full time at Portman Road. West Ham have won by 3-1. It's full time at Liverpool, 1-1 there. It's full time in the game at St Mary's, 2-1 to Arsenal. It's full time at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's another defeat. 22 defeats for Ange Postecoglou, 4-1 to Brighton there. Here's Ollie Watkins inside the penalty area, trying to turn and get the ball forward into the box, but Manchester United are defending doggedly, and they've got it clear. It's finished at Molineux. Wolves 1, Brentford 1. Manchester United steaming forward. Kobbie Mainoo goes towards the edge of the box. Fernandes overruns it but still escapes with the ball. Feeds it to Amad Diallo on the left edge of the area. Eriksson wants it played to him. It's behind Kobbie Mainoo and Fernandes, and the offside flag goes up away to our left-hand side. As it stands, Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City, Chelsea and Newcastle, Champions League. Aston Villa, Europa League. Nottingham Forest, Conference League. And there's the full-time whistle. Aston Villa, if you're going to fail, don't do it at a sorry Manchester United. Manchester United have struggled all season, but Aston Villa just didn't turn up today. Manchester United produced one of their best performances of the campaign, but they were given a helping hand from an off-the-pace Aston Villa, whose European Champions League dream died with the sending off of Emi Martinez and a controversial call by Thomas Bramall, the referee, who disallowed a goal for Morgan Rogers, blowing the whistle before Rogers put the ball in the net after he had been deemed to illegally dispossess Altay Biandir moments before. Manchester United subsequently went on to score 2 goals. That extinguished any hope of Champions League football for Aston Villa, who will play Europa League football next season after losing here by 2-0. Stuart Pearce.
Well, the Villa backroom staff and manager are haranguing the 4th official here. They're livid with that decision. They see that as the turning point within the game. They didn't come and play today, really, Villa. It was a lacklustre performance by them. United were probably on the run of play worthy 2-0 winners, but when decisions go against you like that, you can understand their frustration.
Well, Aston Villa didn't do what they needed to do. They will pinpoint moments in the game that went against them because of the officials. They'll look back at moments in the season where it could have gone better. It's the Europa League for Aston Villa. They won't be dining at the top table. That honour belongs to Liverpool, to Arsenal, to Manchester City, to Chelsea and to Newcastle United, because Manchester United have beaten Villa by 2-0.
Aston Villa absolutely fuming. It would not surprise me if they go legal with it. I know VAR couldn't intervene because the ref had blown his whistle before Rodgers shot it at the back of the net, but Villa are so angry with that. It would not surprise me if we've not heard the end of that situation. Villa 6, they get the Europa League football. Newcastle, Chelsea, City, Arsenal and Liverpool in the Champions League next season. And everyone is singing here at the City Ground.